Boom. Boom. Boom.
Hello and welcome back to the Pop Tab Podcast, the podcast that's as sweet as soda for breakfast. I'm one of your hosts, Brent Kruscke, the upholder of the unpopular opinion, and joining me today, as always, is the ghost host, Jacob Stokes.
Boo.
The Pop Tab Podcast is filmed in front of a live Twitch audience. If you want to be part of the conversation, head on over to twitch.tv/RealPixel to be part of the conversation. Join in all the fun, laughter, all that good times and stuff and things. And you can listen to it post over on patreon.com/RealPixel, where then you can link it to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that good stuff there. We start off with, I almost said homecoming.
Oh.
Nope. We start off with a little bit of housekeeping to let you know what's coming for the stream later in the week, and then what we've watched and taken part in over the past week since we've last joined. So essentially streams for this week's a little weird. Thursday I'm finishing up Callisto Protocol, and then I'm thinking, I'm going to talk, see if you think it'd be worth it. Think about starting Spider-Man. I just forgot Spider-Man existed, and I saw a clip because... Unfortunately, recently, Tony Todd passed away.
Yes.
Voices Venom.
Yes.
And I think Spider-Man 2, I don't know if he's in the first one.
Yes, not in the first one.
Not in the first one. This 2. And I was like, oh, yeah, the Spider-Man games. I really wanted to play those. And I was
Including Miles Morales?
I think so.
Yeah, it's a good one. And
So-
it's shorter than the rest.
So I was like, oh, I'm going to ask Stokes if he thinks I should play them, or if there's a reason why I should avoid them, or I'm not going to like
the
it.
only
or-
reason I would say to wait in any capacity is because the PlayStation issues you had streaming before with the audio.
Oh, that's all fixed now.
You can hear the game
Yep,
and
everything's different.
everything
Yep.
and all
Actually,
good.
every time I game now, even if I'm not streaming, all my audio runs through my computer headphones now. I don't even put my headphones into my controller ever right now.
Oh,
So
good.
I'll just, when I'm just hanging out with Alec and Em and just playing Fortnite, it's all through the computer now. So I figured it. So it's all
You have to do
situated.
anything special for that when you're just playing for fun?
Nope.
Off cam? Oh, great.
Nope.
I don't know if you have to be like, all right, I got to load up OBS so I can hear the game or something.
Nope, it's all done through Wave, but I do Wave for Discord anyway. So
Yeah.
so it actually
me
is.
too.
It's working out really nice now that I know how it all works.
Okay.
So
Then absolutely. There's literally no reason not to. I think the games are great.
I don't know how much I have left in Callisto Protocol, so I don't know if I'll get to Spider-Man Thursday or if it'll be Friday. Saturday, I'm taking a day off because it's the big movie weekend of the year.
It is.
I'm going to go see some movies on Saturday. And then Sunday, maybe more Spider-Man or I
What
think
was Friday for you?
Spider-Man. What do you
Okay. I was just wondering. Because
yeah.
Thursday was Callisto. You said, and then I might, and then you went into it. I thought that was also Thursday.
Oh, no. Well, I
and
might.
then you could do Thursday into Friday.
Yeah,
I get it. But
I might,
I didn't
but-
think about Friday streaming because I was thinking of doing a Friday movie marathon during the day.
Right.
So depending on how your
But the movies I want to see, Bethany, I can't go see Wicked without her. So Bethany's off on Saturday.
but you could go see Gladiator without it.
I
right?
could go see Gladiator,
hasn't
but she
even seen
wants
the
to see
first one,
Gladiator.
right?
I think I don't remember if she said she has seen it or hasn't seen it, but I think she wants to see it. But I've got more on that. That's my first topic. This
Okay.
AMC. And then Sunday, it might be more Spider-Man, or if I can talk Bethany into playing something with me, I might try to find a co-op game. The last time we tried that, it failed because it ended up being only couch co-op, and we weren't set up to stream that. So that was a big old kerfuffle.
Have you
but
done It Takes Two?
We did. We played it like not on stream, but we've played it.
Yeah.
I thought
have you
about.
done Unravel?
We did Unravel. We didn't finish Unravel 2. We felt like it was just more the same.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Okay. But I thought about going back and playing A Way Out with her because we really liked It Takes Two. And even though A Way Out,
you
a
liked A
different
Way
game,
Out, too?
I liked A Way Out. She doesn't know anything about it. I was like, maybe we'll go back and play that again because that was really fun. I'll maybe play the other brother.
I would just like to see the clip of the ending with her in it.
Yeah.
That's what I.
Yep.
Go back.
Yes. And then, so that's streams. And then we'll get into a little bit of what we've been watching and playing. I've mostly been watching I've recently got into Friday Night Lights, which I also want to talk about a little bit more in depth, specifically about a scene or a thing. But it's really weird because the show is really much a snapshot of time, the way it's filmed, the way it's presented, and also the culture around like football still probably is a thing that happens, but I feel like much like the 21 Jump Street movie showed, the times have kind of shifted with mindsets in school.
I have another show recommendation for you, just based on what you just said.
Okay.
I have to find the title, but you keep going.
But so I think it's a really good snapshot of time, and it's been really interesting to watch. Especially also because a lot of like actors and stuff in it, and I go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, he did this after this or did that, and it's also produced or created by, I think it's Peter Berg, I think is his name, who did like Battleship and like he's not Michael Bay.
I watched that,
but
with
he
Shay
really
not
liked to be
too
Michael
long
Bay.
ago. And Shay really liked that movie.
Yes,
That
he also
movie's
I
a
think
lot of
did
fun.
something with
Dude,
Baller
all
with The Rock.
vets getting up.
Yeah, he's like,
can
who's gonna
man it?"
run this ship?
It's
And all of a
so
sudden, all
old,
these old men
vets.
pop up out of
God,
nowhere.
dude, cinema perfection. it's so fun.
So crazy. Yeah, so that's mostly what I've been watching. And also last week was crazy for me, so I didn't get to any movies. And I knew this weekend would be hopefully full of movies. I thought Moana 2 came out this weekend too, but it's not until next weekend.
I thought it was December. It must be 29th of November.
Yeah. At least that's what it made it look like on AMC. It was like, get your tickets early for Moana.
To release date.
I thought it was all this weekend.
27th.
So
Is
the
that Wednesday?
So probably like pre-Thanksgiving. So that's out for Thanksgiving.
Of course, yeah, Thanksgiving. Yeah, I was like, why the hell would it be? Yeah,
I thought it was
that's
this
going to be
weekend.
a good day for them.
Yes.
That's going to be a big fucking day.
Yeah. I mean, this weekend
I
alone is going to
forgot
be
about
huge for
that.
theaters.
Yeah.
Just massive. So,
Well, hopefully, because
Fingers crossed.
did I tell you anything about what Derek said not long ago regarding
No.
movies? He goes, Jake, is November and December always shit for movies? And I go, I don't think it's really ever shit for movies, no matter how you watch them, because of the Christmas releases, because of Oscar movies that come out for like the bait season.
yeah.
So I was like, no, do you think it's shit this year? He goes, yeah, dude, there's just nothing. And I was like, you telling me you don't want to see Gladiator 2? And he goes, oh no, that'd be a good one. And I just cut it there, but I'm like, Moana, bro?
Moana,
You love
Wicked?
animation and Moana. He's not going to care about Wicked.
No.
But even he, I imagine, can look and be like, that'll be a very big movie. Like that,
Yeah.
this isn't a shit movie.
Even-
and then I was like, Nosferatu on Christmas, dude. I'm hyped for that.
Yeah. And
Like-
Red 1 just seems like a fun movie. Even if
Yep.
you just want to, it's something I feel like you would put on Netflix more than go to the theater for. But it just looks like fun. But just to say that all movies, right, like it's not a time for movies right now is crazy with everything that's going on.
Yeah. He said it and I was like, what are you seeing? You know what I mean? What?
What movies is around for you? Old? There we go.
Yeah, I like the way you had to wiggle under that one.
Well, I went to grab it with my nail, and then I had that moment of like, what if it just
Oh!
like, yeah. So then I was like, let me make sure I get it.
You know, it sounds so silly, but someone showed me when I was like, ting, 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 I can't get it. When I did like the,
Oh, yeah.
just to give it a little bend, a little pull with my tooth, which is not a good thing. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
But the guy was like, why don't you just push on the part that like is meant to give way anyway? And I was like, I don't know, but whenever it's too trapped, you can just push it and it'll just lever it up just a little bit. And I'm like, I don't know, I've never thought to do that. And now it's like I've never had that issue ever, just the lever action to push it.
Don't, because I have a fear I'm going to put my thumb and it's going to go through and just slice.
Yeah, well, I don't go down. I'm pushing like flat.
Yeah.
you know. So even if it were to break, my finger couldn't go through.
I guess even like this edge right here
And
or something. I don't know.
I'll do it with my first finger too.
Oh, okay.
Like
That's a
roll
little bit more.
back the footage of me cracking this one. I probably have my finger like this, pushing it to get my finger under, and then Anyway, no, the show recommendation. There's two.
Okay.
They're both the same kind of thing because you're talking about Friday Night Lights,
Yep.
and you don't know if the culture is the same.
Well, I'm saying that in a majority of the country, I feel like the culture has shifted to a little bit more less sport focused. This show does take place
I
in
don't think
Texas.
so. I don't think so.
Really?
Well, Texas, it's the same, is what I'm getting.
Oh yeah, yes.
So
I meant like
even Texas was always the outlier. It is the outlier then,
because it's
but so is California and Nevada. I think those are the three states that are like.
you know what that
if
makes
you
sense?
want to become a
because
pro.
Friday Night Lights takes place in Texas. All American, the other show I'm watching, takes place in California, Crenshaw, L.A., Beverly Hills, all that.
Yeah.
But then they talk about the schools in Nevada, and I went, you just named like all three. I was like, it clicks. You're right.
I'm telling you,
It's
dude.
crazy.
Yeah. Did you know that Michigan had the winningest team in football at one point? Until
Michigan,
like 5 years ago.
Oh,
The winningest high school.
high
Of,
school.
like they didn't lose for like 15 years.
Oh,
Ithaca,
Ithaca?
right down by you, Ithaca. Which is so funny because when you're driving on the highway, their football stadium's like right there. It's like
Yeah.
the only thing of Ithaca you can actually see. But Ithaca, I mean, were they a low rank, low division? Could they have
Yeah.
taken on any of the other big dogs? Not even a little bit.
I really wonder if my high school played Ithaca because it sounds like a team that my high school would have played, and my high school went to states, did not win states, but went and played at Ford Field my senior year, I think. So,
it says Ithaca reclaimed a tie with Iowa City for the nation's longest active winning streak of 56 straight.
56 games. How many games are in a season?
The
12?
Yellow Jackets.
Yeah.
Apparently. High school changes, you know.
Oh, okay.
And it's 12 until playoff season, right?
Right, I guess so.
Or whatever. So how much is it really? I don't know. That was 4 days ago.
Oh, they just really?
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I could have swore it was more than that.
That's crazy. Can you see like what teams are? How do you look up high school sports? Is there like a site for that? Like,
Dude,
is there an ESPN HS or something? I don't understand.
I mean, they do air the high school championships
well,
on those.
Watching
on
Friday
ESPN,
Night
but-
Lights, there's a TV. They're watching TV and it's putting up players' pictures with their stats, and I went, what world is there TV that you're watching high school football on? But I'm like, oh, this is Texas. It's a different country, essentially.
Yeah.
It's a different world.
They also had a 72 straight wins from 1968 to 1975, but they had one that I remember being around when they lost. I don't know.
Interesting.
That's a fun fact. But the two TV shows, they both take place in California.
Okay.
The first one is called Snoop and Son, A Dad's Dream. It's about Snoop Dogg's son on his senior year of football in one of those primetime super high schools.
Oh, so it's like a documentary.
And Snoop Dogg is a coach on the team.
Oh.
And he takes football really fucking serious.
Yeah.
And then just looking that up now, I was like, this isn't it. But there's on Netflix a new thing called Coach Snoop.
Really?
That is him taking that football seriousness, but actually doing, it says, creates a youth football league to keep kids off the streets and focused on their goals. But the first one is more like intense Snoop with his intense son, you know?
We all love Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg's great.
But it's a 5-part miniseries, so it's not like a reality
show.
show.
It's
It's like this is an interesting
There's
thing.
a story here.
Yes. So,
Block end.
and I remember I watched episodes of it. I didn't watch the whole thing because I don't watch the whole thing of many things.
Right.
But it was very good.
We all love Snoop. Snoop's amazing. But I always find it funny when people that like essentially their whole career, why they're where they're at is because they like owned being the streets and like ran the streets, you know, that was his like whole identity. And then later on, it's like, well, I'm going to give something so kids don't have to do that. The thing that made me super rich and famous, I'm going to get them off of that. I understand.
No, I mean, it makes sense.
Getting
right?
off, yeah. In a way, because it's like, in one way, yes, we don't want kids on the street. It's bad. A lot of bad shit can happen. 99% of the people that are on the streets, it does not end up well. But it's funny to be like, what worked for me, I'm going to keep away from you. That's weird.
To me, I see it as like he's the 1 in a million.
Yeah.
And a lot of the other million went to prison or died or
Yes.
whatever.
Terrible stuff.
Where put all the kids in a good youth program, and do you get 6 out of a million become stars and the other million didn't die? And then you're like, I'll play those odds. Like, I'm going to give you all of you better chances than I had.
That's fair.
Like, I had a rap dream and it was really hard for me to push through. You have a rap dream and it's not going to be as hard for you to push through, you know?
There's a great storyline in All American. There's the main guy, football star, going all the way, doing all the big stuff.
Going all the way.
His
Nice.
best friend as a kid went to the streets, started doing the gang stuff, and they like rift apart. And there's scenes where it's like them hanging out, arguing, and then the gang comes up. He's like, hey, are we going? And the guy's like, yeah. And he goes, oh, Spencer, are you coming with? And he's like, nah, Spencer always got somewhere better to be. And he says it like he's like better than us. That kid ends up being killed in gang violence. And then later on, a member comes up and he's like, no, that man protected you from the streets. When he said you had somewhere better to be, it's because he knew you had somewhere better to be than with him. So he protected you. No one fucked with you because of him. And it was just like, turns his whole world upside down the way he viewed his best
Sure,
friend. I was
sure.
like, fuck, damn, that's really good. That's really good. Because it was just the way he delivered the lines.
Yeah,
and then they
yeah.
would do a flashback. And then if you heard it differently, it was all of a sudden like, fuck, that's actually really powerful. It was really good. I think that was the thing that got me. I was like, all right, I'll fucking watch this whole damn show. It hasn't
Wait, that's
been-
in the beginning?
That's like the begin. That's like season 1, episode 8 or something. Like it's so
okay.
early, it feels like.
Wow.
And then there's a lot of other stuff they deal with different things, with gang violence and just a bunch of different stuff. But it was like that moment, I was like, oh shit, that really hit.
Yeah.
That hit for me. All right. So anyway, that's all I've really been watching is football shows and One Piece. Still always on One Piece. Just got to the Phantom Island of Zoe, an island on the back of a giant elephant for the people out there that know where that is. Well, it is. Bethany just wasn't watching very closely. It's pretty obvious.
Hey, Holy.
Hey, Holy. We'll be lurk mode while eating, but hope you have a great stream. Thank you,
I hope
Holy.
you have a great
Appreciate it.
dinner.
Yes, I hope all the food is magical.
All the Spätzle and Wurst. Liver Wurst.
What did you watch?
Because he's German.
Yeah. I had nothing to add, so I thought I'd
There's
take
a
the
good
next
chance
step.
I'm eating pizza tonight. You know what I mean? So
I am having pizza tonight. I think
yeah?
me and Taylor and Kayla are going to.
it's not schnitzel for a change.
I think we're
Sorry,
going
Ollie.
to a filling station.
Tonight? Oh
Yeah.
yeah. You said you'd be doing that with Taylor Kayla.
Yeah, so I was like, oh.
No, my mom. Now that we're not doing podcasts at this time, that's from 6 to 8, but we're doing it at noon. My mom's been inviting me. She does trivia every Tuesday.
Oh.
But we filmed last Tuesday.
Is it
and
trivia at like
It's at That's a Pizza,
Oh, really?
which I was like, oh, okay.
The
sure.
Acme
I
one,
went
or-
one time. No, it's actually by her house, so it's like
Okay, over
west.
that side.
We'll say west
Gotcha,
side of
gotcha.
town. I don't really know exactly. I used to deliver beer there actually, but
Well, I was gonna say I know that, so that's obviously the Acme one, and then I know the one that's that way, actually towards the gym, Center Ice.
oh, right by the Olsons.
That's the only two I knew, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's weird for you to either go to. I guess that one is closer to you, but not to her. But I guess I didn't know there was one on that side. I'm
Yeah.
just pointing everywhere.
I know. Yeah, we actually these are real directions.
These are
that
real
he's pointing.
directions.
Makes
sense to us in the room.
I went golfing one Tuesday with Derek and Jim and was waiting on Shay to do something. So I rode back with Jim to a trivia night and had pizza there. And I was like, oh, this is like a proper restaurant. I've only entered through the back to deliver beer. I just thought it was a pizza place for pickup, but it's a proper restaurant. And with like sandwiches and salads and appetizers and things. I was like, oh, this is not just a pizza joint, like a pick up and go kind of pizza, like a Jets, you know? But then they were doing like a music trivia, like a once a quarter different type of thing. But I was like, I could come back for trivia. So Shay might be coming too.
I say this with like a little bit of a haha. Now that our schedule's more open than when we had the game store, exactly. I was like, I think it would be fun to head over to the bowling alley where we had that game event and actually like do the arcade, maybe take part in the trivia
Moe's?
night. Yeah.
Those things are cool. I want to do the escape room.
Yes. Like I would
You
like to
did
go there and
2 of those, right?
escape rooms.
Yeah.
I've done one escape room.
Period.
Like
Okay.
I played a lot of
I
escape
thought
room
you
games
did,
and
thought
things.
You did 2 of them here.
No. But it was I just was like, this. Because when we were there, we're like, this place is cool. Now we have to go work, which we didn't really do a lot, but we had to go work at room, and then it closed. And I was like, I should make it back here. I'm never going to be able to do that with our schedule. Then once it opened up, quote unquote, I was like, I would like to go back and maybe take time and do stuff
Yeah.
there. I was thinking about doing it at Lucky Jack's, but that's gone or going. I don't know if it actually
Going,
it's gone.
I believe.
It's going? Going. So,
Going, gone.
yeah. But anyway, back to,
So I'll be doing trivia. So pizza.
yes, pizza, trivia. Is it like themed
That's it.
trivia or is it just open?
I think it's just trivia.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never been
Oh.
to one that wasn't themed.
Gotcha. Maybe it's got like maybe it's like
the one I went to before actually wasn't trivia. It was like music bingo. So you just got a sheet and it was casual, it was just chatting. Oh, I know the song. Stamp It. That's it.
Oh, okay. Have you ever done? Oh my God, what is it? I'm gonna say it's a music guessing game. It's like a play on Spotify, but it's not Spotify. But it's like throw out a guess. You throw out like Baha Men, and it'll be like cool. The actual name you're looking for is from America, but a different genre. It's only got 2 It doesn't have the members that Baha Men have. They're blah blah blah, and it's like you have to try to
sure.
narrow it down. That's always seemed fun.
Oh, I don't know that.
I forget the name of it.
not
there's
Encore?
no, there's a podcast I listen to that does it, but their show that they do it, where one guy runs it and the other people guess, is called Tuned Up. But that's not the app.
Sure. And you don't get to hear the song.
No,
You're like guessing the song.
you just
based off
guess based on
Okay.
the info about the song.
You ever
So-
seen Gavin Verhey do that with magic cards? Where they go, guess the magic card.
Oh,
and he
yeah,
gets
yeah.
like 10 questions to ask. And
Yeah.
it comes, it's like sorcery.
And this is it's not a
blue.
song; it's an artist. So it's not just like a.
Sure.
It's like how do I find
That's
Nirvana?
tough though, because it'd be like I'm bad with music years, like really bad. And
Yes.
then I couldn't tell you how many people are in Nirvana.
Yeah, it's also only out of Spotify's top 1,000 artists.
That's
So
good.
it is narrow.
That's good.
But sometimes you look at it and you're like,
you're like
You
cranberry.
you type in a name and you're like, obviously they're, and they're like, they're not there, and you're like, oh shit, like what is the top 1,000 on Spotify? And sometimes the genre's way off. You're like, what are you talking about? But
they go, this is a pop song. And
yes.
then
Or the
it's Johnny
band's
Cash's Hurt.
this. Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like the band is this, and you're like, sure, they had that 2 songs that made it big, but they're an alternative band. They're not a metal band or a rock band. Why did you shift it? Whatever. But it's a fun thing.
Have you ever done
I've
that one
listened
with movies where you get somebody's IMDb page, but all of the letters are like empty blanks, all of their like whatever, and then you say comedy from '95, and here's the title. You have to guess the actor.
to? Yeah,
Those ones are cool.
those are fun. If we run out of stuff, maybe we should play a movie one today. That'd be fun.
Maybe you want to like share it up there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
We'll see.
That'd be fun.
I don't know what we got. I don't know how much stuff you watch or how much we got. I've got a couple things, but not a ton.
Nothing too crazy. I forgot to enter a movie last week that did fall under the window of I should have mentioned it, but it was part of a double feature, and that's why it was like I just put in the last movie I watched, not both of the movies, and that was The Last Witch Hunter.
Oh yeah, you.
I forgot to talk about that. Shay was like, I just want something stupid, but I want it kind of actiony, but I want it to be slightly funny. I want like no seriousness. And she completely chose that one by herself. She goes, this looks pretty cool. And I was like, this is great because I've never seen this. I'm playing New World on my Steam Deck on the couch. And I don't know how many times I looked up and I was like, this is fantastic.
It's so good.
Spoilers, the second Elijah Wood comes on screen, I'm like, it's him. I was like, you can't, like, I've seen too many movies. You know, like, this is too movie a movie for me not to know it's this fucking guy.
Yep.
Didn't see Michael Caine actually living at the end, though. You know, I didn't expect that, but.
That one's really cool. I always put that in, like, the movies where I'm like, man, I wish I got more of these, like, Priest. And
it's because I'm watching it so late, I can't be like, why didn't they ever give me more? Because there would be 4 out and I would have seen 0 of them by now. And also, I watched it and then I ended up watching Trainwreck right afterwards. We talked about that one. But I wouldn't have been like, cool, put on the second one. Like, I don't think I would have, if I'm being honest with myself. So do I want more? I would have taken it, I guess, but I don't know if it's like if I could snap my fingers, I don't think I would make that.
I think it's interesting because I look at that and I go, how did we get 4 Riddicks? Right? 3 Riddicks?
Pitch Black,
Chronicles, Riddick.
And then just Riddick. I think it's 3.
Is it just 3? I was like, how do we get 3 Riddicks?
Is there
but
Riddick
only
Origins?
one? The video games kind of get iffy because I know there's like Butcher of whatever Bay.
There's 3 in an anime.
An anime, okay. But it's like,
do you know who loves the Riddick movies?
Ooh,
Just guess.
Is it Derek?
It's Derek.
Okay, I thought so.
Yes, for sure. Derek. He fucking loves these movies.
Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick, I really like. I think they're very different.
That was when he loved them. Did he see the new one?
The new one I was hyped for when it was coming out. I was like, oh, we're going back. We're doing the thing. I want to say 40% of that movie is Riddick alone in the desert, just surviving on wild animals he finds to eat. And I went, when does the movie start? And it's about halfway through that movie. It's really disappointing.
That's sad.
Yes. But I love Chronicles of Riddick. And Pitch Black, again, Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick, I like them both. I don't feel like they're in the same series. They're
it's like
very
Terminator
different.
1 and 2.
Yeah. One's a horror movie and one is an action.
Well, that's why I told Derek, I was
movie.
like, you like Pitch Black? And he's like, well, I really like Chronicles more. And I was like, well, because the first one's scary.
Yeah.
Like, the way I remember watching it, it was scary.
Yeah.
But if I watched it now, would I be laughing the whole time? I don't know.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I watched Last Witch Hunter.
Yep.
It did get my heart. That's when I'm like, of course I would put this on again.
Oh, yeah.
This is him Viking mode. I'm like, I want a Viking movie
With
with
the
him,
hair
with
and the beard and
braided
stuff.
beard
Yeah.
and the Yggdrasil tree witch was just like, this is cool.
Well, obviously, Fast 11, the tidal wave, he disappears for a while. He's going to come back with the beard. He comes out of the woods. He's like, I've been surviving. I've got a plan to take him down now.
I built a car out of sticks.
Stone wheels and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Flintstones, yabba dabba doo.
Dude, that would be... It's not out of the realm.
I think SNL needs
crazy.
to do a Flintstones like
Fast
Fast
and
and Furious parody video. Anyway, then I watched The Substance. I talked about that.
Yep.
But then we did family movie night this last weekend. The movie was Giant Monster.
Yep.
That was the genre to film with. So we did Underwater. I'd seen it before. I think I actually might have liked it less the first time because there was so many good surprises in the first time watching it. And the second time, kind of knowing where they're going, knowing the pace and everything, I was like, wow, it really does take a while for them to get there. There's a lot of her in the water, and it's like head cam, light flashing, particles in the water. Oh, look, spooky eyes. So I think it didn't pace as well for me the second time. But the first time, when shit just hits the fan immediately and you're just go, 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 the slowing down is almost like, oh, thank God. Like I was just running for so long. It's nice to have that break. But knowing what's coming, I think it hit a little different. I think it was better my first watch, but it still got my heart. I would, if we had to right now, I'd watch it again. Like, it's a good movie.
It's when she's in the bath in the beginning, and it's like what is it, like a bug or something that's like she sees?
A spider.
It's a spider.
A spider, and then she puts it on the napkin.
Yeah, and then she's doing it, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, done. The movie's going. It's like, it's not like
she like steps out in the hallway because things are like
swaying
wobbling or whatever. Yeah, so she just steps out and she's done brushing her teeth. She grabs her jacket, which I was like, man, she really is just like a jacket sports bra in the beginning of this movie. I didn't remember this. It's her fit or like this. I remember the sudden, but I didn't remember how she got there.
Because in my mind, the way that movie usually goes is there's 25 minutes of her talking to every member of the crew. And it's like, hey, this person needs you in engineering. You go down, you meet the engineer, you see that she's the techie, blah, 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 blah. Then you go over here and he's like, the chef's cooking the food. And you talk to them. You learn all the characters.
Yeah, and this guy's going to be funny. And then
shit hits the fan.
And they go, hey, what's this big thing on radar?
Exactly.
Should we pull up to that? Should we
Skipped
reach out to it?
all that and just went. And it's so good for it.
And the first time around, I imagine, I didn't have the feeling of this is too slow ever.
Right.
But the second time I did because of just knowing more.
Yeah.
So I think the next time I watch this movie, which will probably happen, it should be like 15 years from now.
15? You don't think like a 5-year turnaround is?
I'm thinking I'll show a future child.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it's like, could I watch it in the meantime? Sure. But I think there's going to be, I'll have a 7-year-old and I'll be like, man, I want to watch this movie, but I'll give it a few years and we'll watch it together. You know what I mean? It might be that.
Okay.
The Big Lebowski, I'll just watch every year.
Yeah.
There's a couple that transcend something. This one's not a transcender for me. But.
With The Big Lebowski or The Shining or something that you really, really like, do you ever get the feeling where you're like, I kind of need to watch it again? Because the big one for me, or what I see a lot of people talk about, is they get I think it's time to watch Lord of the Rings again. Like I've separated enough that I'm like, I'm ready to go back in there. Are those two movies or any other movie, do you have that, like, I think I'm ready to watch something again?
The Shining for sure. Mostly because, I don't know, I don't watch them with the intention of memorizing everything. Mm-hmm. There's like I try to watch them fresh every time. I laugh at the jokes, whatever. Sometimes I'll hear a quote or I'll see a photo and I'll be like, man, I can't place that where I thought I could. You know, it's not as tight in my mind. I couldn't close my eyes and watch the whole movie, at least for The Shining.
Yeah.
So The Shining, I feel that for. The Big Lebowski, I don't ever really feel the need to watch it in the same way.
Just sometimes it's like, I have
because I can comprehend what the Lord of the Rings feeling is.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Yeah.
The Lord of the Rings is perfect. It's just it doesn't grab onto me in that way. I'm not into the fantasy, I guess, or something that type.
It takes like one quote when it's like Gandalf's like, he's like, Saruman believes it takes great evil, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, but that is not what I have found. And it's like, that's enough. All right, I need to watch all of them right now. It's like, that's all I need.
Yeah, it does. There's something, I mean, because you get so much of it, right? Like, I think maybe I'd have a different feeling if The Shining were 3-hour movies.
That's fair.
I don't want it to be, and I'm glad it isn't.
Yeah.
But maybe if I had something like that, like a miniseries, like Haunting of Hill House is that.
Oh, okay.
I've seen that. I've seen the whole series 3 times, which is not something I do.
Mm-hmm.
So there are times where I think about man, there's an episode that's just 4 takes, four shots. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I should just watch the whole series because I think about all the pieces I love in every episode, and I'm like, there's always something there.
There's always something.
But for me, with something that long, I have to grab somebody else to watch it with, to show it to, to appreciate it out loud to. Because, you know, if no one's around to hear Viggo Mortensen break his foot, did it really happen?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Break his toe, whatever. But it was so funny because the next movie I watched, the next day, I had a family friend over, had Mia up, and she was staying at the house, and she often does she watches a lot of movies with her friends at home, but she calls them normies. I met her in film school, so she
Gotcha.
calls them normies. And when we talk about anything, she goes, "Wow, it's really nice to watch a movie with someone who likes movies. You know, like who actually likes them rather than like just enjoys watching." And she talks about how I introduce her to stuff all the time, and I was like, "Well, I got a movie to introduce you to this time. We're gonna watch Skate Town, USA."
Okay. I've heard this pitch. Go on.
Yes. This isn't a movie you shouldn't just put on. You know?
Right, yeah.
This is an event.
Yep.
And I think you need someone like myself with you to just be like, to really exemplify there's a fucking wizard in the skate rink right now. You know what I mean? Like something like that. That's just like, this isn't normal. What
Right.
you're watching is not normal. But I logged it in Letterboxd. Colin saw that, screenshot it, put it in the group chat, and said, "Oh my God, Cody, what did you think?" Because I was supposed to watch this movie with Cody, and I forgot.
Oh, shoot.
We didn't have a date.
I've been there before, too.
We didn't have a date. We didn't have anything set. There was nothing like that.
For as long
And
as
then-
you have. I'm sure Hoki's got a different story because I've been on the other end of this.
Where is
but
he? Where is he?
I'm just saying.
Hop
I'm just
in here,
saying.
Hokie.
I've
Tell
been
me
on the
I'm
other
wrong.
end. I'm sure there's another side of this story.
Cody
I'll wait to hold
Cody
my.
hit me with oh, he's cheating on me, you know, something like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
And I was like, well, it's really nice of you to think that, but Colin knows Mia, so I was like, no, it was Mia. We watched it.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, did you tell her that Nick Castle wrote this? Nick Castle being the guy who plays Michael Myers. So I just like Michael Myers, the horror character, wrote this movie.
Yeah.
Is the way I like to pitch it. And I in my response to it, I said that fun fact is the equivalent of Viggo Mortensen and his foot. Viggo Mortensen in the helmet is what I said. Like that is the equivalent fact to me. Like there will never be a second that I watch that movie that I won't remind somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was written by Michael Myers. So it got my heart.
Of course.
Shay was so confused. She's like, why do you love this so much at the end? And I was like, you clearly weren't there for the rest of the movie because every moment of its perfection.
I feel like, and I haven't watched Skate Town USA, so I don't know, but I feel like it gives the same vibes to the people that just love Rocky Horror. It's like if you take a step back and look at that movie, you go, what is there really to love about that movie? But if you were at the right time, at the right place, and you watched it and had that feeling, you love that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, there's obviously something super special about that, but I think what makes Rocky Horror, the people who love it harder is because of the event.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
it.
Now it's been like, yeah.
Well, now, but as long as I've ever known it.
Yeah.
Like it's, you know, because the movie's 40 years old, right?
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
50.
Is it 50? No.
Yeah, it came out in early 70s, no?
Is it 74? Let's see. When does it come out?
75.
75,
So
yeah.
50 years.
Damn.
So that movie being 50 years old, as long as I've known the movie to exist, which I've ever told you my story of watching Rocky Horror for the first
No.
time? No. I went to the library when I was in like the first or second grade. My dad was a professional boxer. I loved the Rocky movies, had the scripts, had whatever. I got a library card on like a field trip.
Yeah.
And we were allowed to get anything, and I went right to the movies, and I was like, I already seen this movie. We own it on VHS, but I want to watch the DVD. Give me Rocky. And they gave me Rocky Horror Picture Show instead.
Okay.
And I went home, and I was like, I looked at the disc. I was like, this is not the same thing.
not right.
What is this? That's how I watch Rocky. I'm in the second grade, right? Watching
Yeah.
it at Nana's house and whatever.
I remember the first time I watched it was because my first, I would say, real girlfriend, we were talking movies, and I was in I wanted to take film classes in high school, but I had to wait a certain amount. Like I was into film, and I was like, "So, what's your favorite movie?" Because that's like how I knew if I could talk to people. And she's
I
like,
could talk to people.
"It was a different time. It was a different kid."
No,
But-
anyone who is a film person
Uh-huh.
had to have had
There was a window.
a window, they might still be in it, of being an absolute snobby piece of shit.
Yes,
Which was me. I was like, I don't watch Fast and Furious. I watch fucking
exactly.
Chris Nolan movies. You know, that was
Yeah.
for newer things, I guess. But
And then
Anyway.
and she was like, "Well, you probably haven't heard of it, but it's a Rocky Horror Picture Show." And I was like, "Oh, a horror movie? That's wicked cool." And she went, "Well, it's not really horror." And I was like, "Okay." And she's like, "It does have aliens." I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And she's like, "Yeah, but they're not
that
really
is
aliens."
not what I would have gone with.
And I'm like, "What are we talking about?" And then I remember watching it being like, and then the music starts. I was like, "Oh, it's a musical?" And she's like, "Yeah, I kind of always forget that." I go, "What do you mean?" And then after watching it multiple times and doing stuff, I was like, how did you forget it was a musical? She's like, it just becomes like part of it. I don't really label it as a musical. And I was like, but you label it as Aliens. What a weird bitch.
What an alien. That's a crazy pull. But I mean, when I think Lion King, I don't think of it as a musical.
That's yes.
Like I can understand the thought.
Right, but it was
But to be
the
like,
equate of
it's a cat movie.
exactly.
It's like, what?
Exactly. Yeah, so it was that was an interesting thing. And then
Or maybe it's like a pig movie. That would be like a closer thing.
yeah, and then I've done a lot of other things with Rocky Horror since then, and it has a special place in my heart. But if I never watched it again, if I never go to a live show again, I'd be fine.
You know, I think Skate Town, to compare to something, would probably be closer to like A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, okay.
The only reason I think that is because there's people who have it who like have tattoos, and there's like a different iconography where this movie doesn't have iconography in that way, like roller skates, I guess. But that's like
Right. Well,
so generic, and they're just rollers. There's not one. There's no MacGuffin. There's no.
well, when that movie came out, there wasn't a hot topic to have a wall dedicated to it.
so that's the thing is like you can't buy this merch,
Right.
Like maybe Etsy or something, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
someone who also loves it, but it's tough to say that you can flex the love the same way because I can't just put I'm going to Skate Town, USA on a bumper sticker on my car. People
Yeah.
are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
yeah,
so
right next
it's-
to your I've just left Flavor Town bumper sticker.
That's right. Yeah, on my way to Suplex City.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard to compare, but the passion is there, is all I'm saying. So
Yep.
it's one I'll show anyone anytime.
Okay.
And it took 3 minutes, and I was like, oh, I forgot I got to be high for this.
Oh. Oh shit.
When
Hold
took
on.
took an edible, yeah,
The event.
I
of
was
it.
like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot this disco rink is run by a wizard. Like, I need to be high. I forgot. So we'll get Blitz and watch it.
Okay.
We'll make it happen.
Sounds good.
Then the next day, Sunday scaries were coming. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we got to work the next day. So winding down with a movie, we watched Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. A French movie.
Yep.
It's exactly that.
Makes sense.
It's a vampire who doesn't want to kill people, witnesses a potential almost suicide, the guy decides against it from jumping. They end up almost becoming friends because she ends up becoming like suicidal vampire. They allude to it that if you ever eat human food, you could just die as a vampire.
Oh, okay.
And she's a busker, and she gets gifted human food. So she's like, maybe I should just eat this. I'm not going to kill people. My mother hates that I'm not killing people. My dad's supporting me, but my mom hates it. And so she goes to like a suicide support group, and that guy's there, and they both like recognize
yeah.
a little something like that. And he's like, I'll die for you. And then they have, it's the whole movie is essentially fulfilling his last wish
So in
so
this
that she can kill him.
in this world, vampires have to kill the person. They can't just take a little sit.
No, they could.
Oh, okay.
They could. Yeah. It's just like, I don't know. I don't think it'd be, there's a different piece of lore that you get that's like about if you are taking blood from them and they don't die, like shit could get weird. But if they cut their hand and like give you blood, it's not a voluntary thing. It's more that it's like maybe if I like stabbed a straw into you and it'd be different, But
Oh, okay.
fangs are something that like come and go, and she's 68 years old, but makes her look like 16.
Yeah.
But they almost come on like an erection or something.
Okay.
It's like you need to be like not aroused in that way, but you need to like become hungry, have like a frenzy, like a feeding frenzy, and then your fangs show up.
Gotcha.
And that's also like I'm hungry, like. Oh, my stomach's hurting. Not that kind of hungry, but like there's a pizza right there. Oh, I get the crazy eyes,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. So
Most likely won't be able to stop.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. They don't really.
It's
they don't.
Edward
they don't,
at the end of Twilight
They
without
don't
the love.
evolve. Yeah. Right now, hit 'em by.
Edward, that's enough. Edward. We say that as loving fans.
God, I love that movie.
It's so fun.
We were talking about that movie being one we should watch for family night because Vampires is coming
Yep.
up. It's not the next one. Vampires is coming up. Actually, no, it is the next one.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
why. That's what we were talking about. Oh, let's just watch Twilight. And we found out my mom also loves that movie. She said that she went to the theater alone to see it one time, and she said she sat down and had her purse in her lap, and she was so enamored by the movie, she didn't take her purse off of her lap the whole time, that she just like.
And this is the first one?
First one.
Wow, okay.
And I was like, you just showed up and the movie was going. She's like, yeah, I was just a little late.
It was
like because this was also '08. We had a different theater set up here.
Yeah.
So she was in the mall, saw it was playing, and just like, I'll go see it.
Walked
that
in.
was it. So it was like, I didn't plan this. I'm late, but not really.
It's such an interesting thing because Twilight, huge thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wasn't really aware of it until it became a phenomenon. Like Harry Potter, I read the books before the movies were announced. Like I followed that phenomenon through. Twilight, though, I remember being, I think it was senior year. You said it was 08?
I think it was '08.
So maybe junior year of high school. And I remember.
Well, if it's fall '08, you graduate in '09, you're fall.
Oh, I guess,
fall
yeah,
08,
senior.
You know,
But I remember being in class.
yeah. Oh, no, it was November '09.
Okay, so senior year, whatever year. I remember girls that were interested or had read the books looking at pictures of casting.
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing like the images of like the people standing there as vampires. I went, is that how they are supposed to like look? Like, is that right? And they're like, well, this person should look like this or that. I was like, no, just like aesthetically as a vampire, is that how they're supposed to look? And they're like, yeah, I think so. I think they got that right. And I was like, okay. And I was like trying to understand what they were, but I was like, all right. And then it came out and I was like, oh, I get the idea now because they glitter and like there's like a sparkle to them more than just being pale. But it was very interesting to see. I'd be on the outside and all of a sudden just be thrust in. Because then by the time, not the first one, but the second one was coming out, I was working at the theater, living the hype at the highest moments through every one of those movies.
Yeah, I didn't see the first one in theaters. I knew of girls in my school who had the posters in their lockers and everything like that. And had a girlfriend, wanted to take her to see the new one. And I was like, I should watch the first. And watched it. And I was like, yo, I think I love that movie. Like, that was really fun.
Yep.
Like I really liked it. And then we did our theater did a showing where you could it was an actual midnight release, and you could
Back in the day.
you could start Twilight. I'll say 9. I don't know the real time, but you could start Twilight at 9 in the same theater to guarantee a ticket into the. And that was when the tickets were selling out. That was like
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, oh, well, not only will I get to see this one and get a double movie with my girlfriend, but also, so, yeah.
Man, what?
And then I watched them after that because I broke up with her by the time the next one came out. But
Can you
I just enjoyed
think
them.
of?
I did read the books New Moon on. I was like, I've watched Twilight. I don't want to read Twilight. I'll just read New Moon and go from there. So I never read the first book, actually.
You don't think there is a world or a movie that could come out now that could sell out a theater, right? That's just gone.
Last movie that I went to and the tickets were sold out was Lincoln.
Not like
Which was surprising. I think a field trip took
I'm not
them.
saying a one auditorium.
You mean a theater?
I mean a theater.
We did have, I think ours had like 3 or 4 screens, but it wasn't everything, you know.
Oh,
Even
Twilight?
Midnight, well, New Moon. But,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Everything from New Moon, I think, until Breaking Dawn. I don't know. Harry Potter also did it, but I don't know if all the Harry Potters did it. But it would be all 18 screens midnight, and we'd have a 2 a.m. show for anyone that didn't make it to the midnight. We'd open up the theaters for 2 a.m. and then
You
trickle.
lived in a different population of people.
That's
though.
true.
Like, I'm just going to, I'll do a quick
But it was like,
population of Lansing.
I mean, that's a lot of.
112,000. That's 10 times more than we had because
Yeah.
we're roughly 16,000, and also you had a college.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's a little bit different mental
Still
math,
go to the
but
still go to Lansing. There's not a movie or something to come out now that will ever have that again with the
Yeah.
way the world is.
yeah, I can't imagine any college kid being like, "Oh, that new movie's coming out tonight. I have to go with my group of friends in cosplay." Like
Yeah.
like I saw for Harry Potter, like I saw for ever tell you about me watching The Dark Knight Rises for the first time?
No.
I took a buddy to go. He had never seen any Batman movie ever. He's not a comic book guy. Just an athlete, doesn't watch anything. And we went. They had the same thing leading up to midnight with the same tickets, but with Batman Begins,
Dark Knight. Yeah.
But when we went in, he loved those movies. He was like passionate about them by the end, which I was very happy to see.
Yeah.
because I too was
Because
very
it would have
passionate.
sucked to be halfway through Dark Knight and he goes, man, I'm really just not into this.
Yeah,
I'm
like, man,
dude,
this
we haven't
isn't-
even started the movie we came for.
Yeah, so he was that. But we had a guy in our audience that before Batman Begins, he was cosplayed as the Scarecrow and did like a monologue at the front of the theater,
Wow.
which was hardcore. But then you know they give you a 10, 15-minute break between movies. So we go in, and when I go to the bathroom, he's in there getting changed and he's doing his makeup for the Joker. And he comes and does a Joker monologue for the second one. He didn't dress up as Bane for the third, but
That's fair.
I was like, damn, these people are serious. I don't think there's a movie that happens for anymore. There's no cosplaying. And I was like, if Endgame can't do it, there's nothing in this world.
I think
that
there
could.
are
Endgame's probably the closest.
People still dress up for movies. Like we saw that
Oh,
Dune
Barbie.
where they're ride. Oh, Barbie. But I was thinking of Dune where they're riding the sandworm
The-
one
with the
wheel.
one wheel
And I was
dude.
like, they still do that stuff. But it's not like to the level. And I think like the last time a
Yeah.
phenomenon of a bunch of people dressed up, oddly enough, was people wearing suits to go see Minions. That was like the last thing I could think of where it was like almost like a thing.
I'd say Barbie.
Barbie, you think so?
Yeah. I mean, you didn't see it here?
No, not at all.
Oh, I mean, I was going to other movies and I'm like, what do you think they're here to see? And it's just 5 girls in pink glitter dresses or jumpsuits,
Oh, really? No, I
big
didn't see any
high
of that.
heels and boots, big, and then maybe Taylor Swift,
Yeah,
her
that's-
movie.
Yeah, it's almost cheating,
You
but
got
yeah.
something different there. Didn't
Yeah,
we?
that's a different
But I
thing.
think that it happens. It happens.
Okay.
Well, what I was getting into with
Oh, yeah,
this,
sorry,
with this
sorry, go
vampire
on.
movie was that it didn't change or evolve or do anything different with the what is a vampire and how do they function lore, except for maybe human food because that's like such a weird rare thing anyway.
Yeah.
You know, Dracula never wants to eat a fucking hostess anyway, so why would he? You know,
How did
well,
someone
maybe
be-
he wants to eat a hostess, but not a hostess. You know,
I see what you're saying. How does someone become a vampire in that world? Did they establish that at all? Because everyone's got their own like.
you get bitten by a vampire.
That's it. They just like because there's
That's kind of what I was getting at. Was like if you bite them and you don't kill them, but you're just drinking their blood, you're not like choosing. You know, you don't have to like bite them, whatever, give them some of your blood. Like it's not intricate. It's more just like if you bite them and they don't die, they're a vampire.
gotcha. Because it's like in Twilight they have venom that they can choose to like suck back out or whatever. In True Blood, I think it's like exchanging of blood and then get buried and have to dig yourself out of the ground or something.
That's right, the burial.
Yeah,
I forgot
like,
about
there's
that.
like there's a bunch of different ways a bunch of movies have decided, but like the classic was you get bit, you're done. That's it. You're a vampire now.
Yeah. I think of it like bit, and then you know you want blood, and you're like, oh, you're frail and want blood, and then you drink the blood of your vampire master, whatever.
Creator. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think of as classic.
Oh, okay.
Like you're still technically a vampire in that you want to drink blood when you wake up, but you would just wither and die if it wasn't for that.
Gotcha.
Which they kind of do in this one. The person wants blood, but there's no master of like draining. They're just like, here, take some of this baggy. Take this baggy blood.
And sometimes if you kill the master, everyone else turns back, and sometimes no.
That's true. That's true.
The widening, changing, ever-flowing world of vampire lore.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
This one does have like, I think what this one doesn't do is you have to be invited in.
Oh, okay. You could just vampires
you
should just
just walk in.
go on
But
in.
otherwise, it's like the sun will get you, and you age different, and
garlic, crosses.
crosses. Yes, garlic. No, because he asks questions. Because vampires don't exist like natural. They're not like
They don't
you know.
know.
No one knows.
It's not True Blood where you can go to a bar and order True Blood the drink or this because it's like no vamps allowed or whatever. It's not
Yeah.
like that. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's and so the guy's asking questions, and they're like, he asks about crosses, and she's like, it's kind of like an allergy. Like it's not really.
It's like
You
an
know, you
allergy.
don't want it, but it's like So you
Got
get
it.
puffy. That's about it.
Okay.
But I got a heart. It was fun. I watched that one on Mubi.
Oh, okay.
Mubi being more of like the snooty cinema streaming service,
Oh.
but that's where the substance. It was produced and distributed by Mubi.
Oh,
so
okay.
we signed up for their trial. to
Might
get
as
it.
well use
And
some
yeah,
other
and I was
movies
like, I
we
might as
can-
well watch a couple movies. And Shay, so far, she's been scrolling through, and she's like really interested by like all of these movies.
Interesting.
And I'm like, you want to watch that movie? Like, are you sure? There's plenty of things like on Netflix that I'm sure you'd want to watch. She's like,
There's
this,
Hot
this sounds
Frosty.
interesting. This sounds interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it does. Add it to the list.
Yeah.
So the only 2 movies we had added were this one
Mm-hmm.
and Antiviral. The movie
Okay.
I've been telling you I want to watch. Brandon Cronenberg's first movie.
Yep.
She's interested in watching that.
Very cool.
It's great news.
That's exciting. Is there a movie that you watch, is good and you like, but you would like, you never bring up, you never tell someone to watch? Is there a movie like that?
Does Batman vs Superman count? You mean like something more objective, something more like
It's like you in your head, like, because I'll give you my example. My example is the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. That is
Oh, sure.
a good
The
movie.
Brad Pitt?
Yep,
Yeah.
I really like it, but it's so long, so drawn out, and it's like I like it because of that Western like the slow burn of that movie. But I don't tell anyone to ever watch it. I never bring it up and talk about it because it's not like one that I'm like, oh, you gotta see this ever. But it's just one that I'm like, man, that's a really well made movie. It's really good,
Dude,
and I really like it.
I think speaking on Cronenberg, I think Possessor and Infinity Pool were that for me.
Okay.
That I could put those on anytime and watch them.
Cool.
But I'm like, there's something. I think it's mostly horror for me because there's just like that's a step too weird, or I don't know if anyone can watch someone saw their own leg off. You know, like maybe I wouldn't do these ones, but it's probably all horror movies realistically.
Okay. I just had that thought because it's like you talk about bringing people in for things you like and you have to sit and experience them with. It's like, what's the movies that you would never bring anyone into experience with, but you could still put on and watch?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's movies I like. I love Creed, or any of the Rockies, really within reason. And I think there's just like I don't know if I watched that with someone, I don't think it's one I could radiate excitement for a punch. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, I can radiate laughter. I can radiate a wizard running a skate rink and being like, look, and Nick Castle did this, and
Right.
we shouldn't laugh at this joke, but here we are because this movie was made too long ago. But
Yeah.
I'm laughing not at it, but like at it. Not with it, but at it.
With it? Yeah. Okay, cool.
So maybe that.
Gotcha. All right. My first topic for today. What's wrong with AMC and why can't I buy my tickets for this weekend? I'm having this
Let me
issue all
ask
morning.
you one question.
Yep.
Did your credit card expire recently?
No.
Or your debit or whatever?
Nope. Like I have.
So our cards expired.
Uh-huh.
I updated mine the second I got my card. Shay did not. Got your thing needs to be updated. Didn't just swipe the email away, didn't do it. Went to go do the new movie. Oh, I need to update my card. Updates it. You can't be a A-list member for 6 months after your card bounces.
Really?
Yeah. We're gonna call and get that shit
It's gotta
sorted
be fixed,
out.
yeah.
Because I'm like, we go to the movies too damn often. You're gonna get our popcorn sales or you're not. Like,
Yeah.
I will give you an extra $180 if you give her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, and it's because of debit bounce. Like, we haven't missed the payment for years, but our card expired.
No, it's not this
like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
But Derek had that happen. He just waited the 6 months.
Whew. Well, it's just like, it still says I have A-list. I have stubs.
Correct.
But it just doesn't work. Before, there was a thing up here that said, hey, because of an update, A-list stubs might not work. Check back at 9 a.m. Central. It's now 1 o'clock Eastern, which is whatever. But I'm like, why can't I get my tickets? Because it's like, I don't think they're going to sell out, but they are filling up faster than I thought they were going to. So
Let me sign in here. I don't have my phone on me right now, so
yeah.
let me see if I can get signed in and do something. All right, Cherry Blossom.
And it's like, boom, I have A-list. Thank you for next billing is December 8th. Congratulations, but
Great,
I can't
good job.
use it.
Good job. You're looking for Saturday?
Yep.
I'm gonna try the same movie you are. Saturday, Gladiator. I saw like
Gladiator 305 or Wicked at 11,
305.
whatever.
Pick my one seat. Continue. I'm not gonna do my entourage. Yeah, it's okay. Make this one of my AMC stubs. It's not asking me to. Didn't take me to the purchase screen.
What the heck?
Oh fuck! Did it just confirm? Okay, no. I just got an email. I was like, yeah, continue. Adult ticket minus $14.59.
Well, that's really annoying.
I mean, I'm on a laptop, so maybe
Yeah, maybe
there's
I'll check
something
on
there.
it. Maybe I'll go on the computer.
I should be asking people when we want to go to movies this weekend though, because it is a big one. My thought for Friday though was going to be starting in the afternoon sometime because I have to be here for the DHL shipment. I don't know how long that's going to be for In Light of Shadow Kickstarter. And I was thinking I'd go see Heretic and Gladiator.
Was that the end of that? I'm
That's
sorry.
it. I'm thinking.
I was waiting.
I'm thinking Wicked. I don't think I have anyone in my life who's interested in seeing Wicked. I mean, other than you two.
Yeah.
I know you two both want to. Anybody else, I can't think of anyone who would want to. I also do have the fear now of people singing in the theater, and I'm like, God,
It's
is
going
this
to
one
happen.
I want to?
It's gonna happen, and I'm just accepting it.
Do I want to just not see it in theaters? Like, I'm not, and that's not me. That's not me.
Yep.
But I really don't want to hear motherfuckers singing in the theater.
Yep. This is where I'm like, you know what? I went to a live production of it, and someone was singing behind me. I'm going to go to the movie and have the same thing, except for I'll be in IMAX, and maybe the speakers will be loud enough where I won't hear them as loud as I did in an actual auditorium. So
that's true.
That's
I shouldn't let fears dictate my life. I should just go.
Yep. Well,
What's the Gladiator popcorn bucket?
what's the Gladiator popcorn bucket?
Yeah.
It's a decapitated head
Yeah.
with that pig mask
So
looking
they
thing.
got these cups and things for Wicked.
Looks, yep.
Always like seeing those. Ooh, what do they got? They got Emerald Elixir and Oz Dust Punch.
Cool.
Sure. Hope they have been 0.
Yeah, right?
Why they don't give a fuck about that.
All right, well, I got to go sign in AMC after this, but I spent all morning.
That was your big thing.
I confirmed with Bethany. I was like, hey, this is what we're doing. You ready to do 2 movies? It's going to be about 6 hours in the theater. We doing it Saturday. It's our day off, blah, blah, blah.
6 hours, yeah, that is a big one.
And she was like, yeah, I want to see both of them. I was like, cool. And I went, I was like, I can't get the ticket.
All right, never mind.
I was like, I can't get the ticket. What do we? I can't get the ticket. And I was like,
well, I mean, the worst case scenario, you could just show up there and it's on your account.
right.
That is the worst case scenario, though.
But then I have
Then
to
you're
pick
getting
my
shit
seats.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no,
yeah.
that's what I'm telling you, because you're getting shit seats.
Ugh.
But it's technically an option.
It is an option. It's just like, I'm just like, come on. Everything is right. Why won't you let me do it?
Now I feel like I got shit to figure out.
Sorry.
Hey, that's okay. I've got 3 things on my calendar Friday anyhow. No, 4. I got 4 things on the calendar that day.
Woo. Loading up.
Oh no, Shay's not streaming that day.
Oh, no?
So I only got 3 things.
Okay.
She's moving it to Thursdays. But I think that means it's because she has roller derby or something on Friday.
Oh, okay.
Hope she didn't want to go see any movies.
Oh, I was going to check with her for streams because she messaged me like whatever week she wanted. I was like, I got to finish Halo with Alec, but next time I want to play. So I was going to ask her if she was going to do something this week or whatever.
Thursday she might,
Okay.
but likely not.
Okay. So the next thing I had, and this was just a moment I
That
had
was a
this
pretty
morning.
quick one. I'm just like,
That was
oh, you can do it. I'll check later.
Well, I thought
That
it was
was
gonna,
the
I thought it
topic.
was going to be an issue or something was going to be wrong, and it's like
Yeah.
AMC's down right before the biggest weekend. I thought there was going to be more, but it just looks like my phone's
The biggest week
The
during
F's
the
being dumb.
shittiest quarter of movies. No one's ever going to
Yeah,
see
no
it.
one ever cares. But so the other thing I had was I've got I've always have stuff in the back pocket, but this is the
Yep.
thing that just happened this morning, and I feel like it's things like this where I feel like, oh, this is where I really appreciate it, but I feel like 90% don't get it or don't see it. They might subconsciously get a feeling from it, but don't know why or how it was put together. And I think another
have no
person
idea where you're getting
makes
at.
movies or likes movies like you do, and
Sure.
we get it. But it's just little moments.
Classic we get it, they don't get it moment.
There's
Okay.
there's
You're
sometimes
you're
where
culting
something
me.
happens and I just go, fuck, that's good. Oh, that's good. And I look around, I go, no one else is getting it. But man, that's so good.
Was this you looking around at Bethany or?
I was in an empty room. It was just
Yeah,
me.
okay,
But in my
okay.
head, I would go, I could have 50 people here. Maybe another person would get what just happened. Where it's like in a Friday Night Lights episode.
Okay, yeah, you did talk about this episode. Like you said, this was going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
One thing was a
One
topic.
little thing. So essentially, the story is spoilers for Friday Night Lights, an old show. It doesn't matter. It's a small part. It's not the whole thing. But one of the characters, Riggs, he is sleeping with his best friend's girl.
Not ideal.
And his best friend, paralyzed, took a hit in the football game, paralyzed. So then they start hooking
remember.
up after that, right?
I remember. I've only seen the movie though.
Okay. So he's doing that. His brother is the one that lives with him, and Riggs is kind of like I don't give a damn, I just want to hurt people on the field, I drink a lot. But now he's like turning his life around because he wants to be with this girl, even though she's with the best friend, yada yada. But then him and his brother start butting heads. And it starts off with them in the supermarket where they're trying to buy stuff, and he's like, the brother's grabbing, like steaks and peas and like all this different stuff. And he's like, why are you buying all this like expensive food. And he's like, well, you had a great game. You need more great games. Well, you need to start eating better. And he's like, whatever.
How old
dude.
is this guy's brother? College?
Yeah. The dad left and he just took over the house essentially.
It's older brother, dad situation?
Essentially.
Okay. Yep.
And so then they get up to the counter and he scans it all and they go, oh, we don't have enough money. So the brother starts taking things off the list. And the guy's like, oh, I want this magazine. He's like, we can't afford that magazine. That's not what we're doing. He's like, oh, you can get your fucking peas, but I can't get my magazine. They're like, it starts the battling, right? Fast forward in the episode, they're battling again. They're arguing, and he goes, "Oh, because he's like, oh, you have nothing going on in your life. I play football." And he's like, all you have is football. At least I'm not the dude that's sleeping with my crippled best friend's girl. And then they start fighting in the living room. They start fighting it all out, whatever.
No, that's fucked. That's fucked. Yeah.
He leaves. He goes and sees the best friend. Doesn't know the best friend is aware of the cheating. And they watch him have a game, like a wheelchair, like whatever, I don't know the sports name, but throwing the ball, trying to get essentially football, but in wheelchairs.
Okay, sure.
And he goes, oh, dude, you had such a great game. That's awesome. And the dude just punches him in the face. And he goes, oh, stand up and fight me. And the guy like walks away. And he's like, oh, you're good enough to steal a crippled's girl, but you can't fight a cripple and all this different, like the whole story.
Sure.
And then he goes back
hardcore.
home. The whole house is still destroyed. The brother's like cooking, but he just left the house destroyed from their fight. And he goes and sits down, and the brother's like, oh, who did that to you? And he's like, Jay did it, like my best friend. He's like, and he just goes to the freezer, and he pulls out the peas and throws it to him. And I went, oh, fuck, the peas. God, that's so good. Oh, it's so good.
like for
to hold up against the eye.
Yeah,
But it's like, I was like, oh, I forgot you bought the peas. And I was like, oh, it's so good. It was like a bookend episode. I was like,
that's funny you'd say that people wouldn't take that. I feel like they would.
I don't think they would.
I mean, I think there's plenty of people who wouldn't if you had 50 in a room with you.
Because for me,
quantity there wouldn't be. There'd be a lot of people. That
when I explain it to you, I talk, hey, they're at the supermarket. They buy the peas and the healthy food. They argue with the peas, fight, the peas come back. But this is an hour-long episode, and each one of those moments are 4 seconds throughout this episode. And then there's all the other storylines I skipped to get to those points.
I don't know, man. Because
I think so many people miss that stuff, and that's what I live for. I was like, oh, it's so good.
I also think it's funny you mentioned that because I like movies, but that's like
storytelling.
That's just story.
Yes.
Yeah. Like whether it's in a song, which is a shorter time period to have the callback, or an album callback maybe is probably the closest, or anyone who just reads anything. I don't know. I think you're underestimating. I think 10%, you got to go higher than that.
I think it's just from my experience when I bring up things or talk about things, and they go, I get oh yeah, that was cool too. And I go, it's not just cool. It's like somebody lived and breathed that moment into existence so we could feel the feelings we had.
Yeah.
They just don't get it.
I think the filmmaking side of it, the difference is like you see how they framed the peas so heroically because of how monumental the bag was. Otherwise, it would have been just toss you a bag, I catch it, and it's just on my head. But even if that's how it went, where did it say peas? Did it face out? Did it whatever?
No, that was the other thing is like when he picks up the peas and the steak, it's like just thrown in there. Then he references the peas in dialogue. You don't even see him on the conveyor belt. And then when he throws the peas, there's not a shot of the peas. It's a shot of him sitting at a bar counter. The peas just hit the counter, and you can tell it's a white bag of frozen veggies, and it looks green. And you just know that it's like they don't emphasize that it's the peas. They're just like, oh, these peas came in handy, or like, okay, you were right about my.
Yeah,
they don't
of
do
course
that.
You could get too loud about
it's just, it's just so subtle that the peas just hit the counter, and everybody who's ever been hurt or whatever, you've gotten I hit my knee, let me put a fucking whatever frozen veggies that we're never going to eat in the freezer, put it on there. It was just so good.
People who put the raw steak on, you know what I mean? That's the one that weirds me out. I've never done that.
Never done that.
No one's going to be like, hey, take this not frozen enough thawing meat we're going to eat and put it on your face.
And now it's like,
but bags of peas, I've had a bag of peas.
Yeah. But it's just so, I felt like it was done subtly enough to where the whole time I'm watching the episode, I'm not thinking back to the peas or I'm not thinking to the fight or whatever. But then when it came back, I went, oh, I was just like, I'm like standing in my kitchen, like cooking breakfast, just like walking back. That was so good. It's so good. They did that. I had no outlet for it.
Yeah.
And I feel like most people don't get that. Like, don't get they get the bigger ones. That's like the beginning of the movie, maybe brought up in the middle, and then the end of the movie.
No, I mean,
but the 20-minute scene
any piece of symbolism like that, you know what I mean? I get it. It's like you were arguing me about the peas. I'm standing for peas. You're standing for a magazine. But at the end, you need what I have. You need my. You're wrong.
Yeah.
Like this is me tossing it back in your face but also helping you. You
Yeah.
know, like it's
Not being
it's-
smug about it,
It
but just
symbolizes
being
a
like-
lot, and it's even if it is just a throwaway, yeah, it can mean a lot. But I don't know. I think there's people who would have caught it, but that's I also love shit like that.
Yeah, that's the thing is I feel like I think if we sat down people and we showed them a scene or an episode of something, and then me and you look and we go, "Oh, what'd you guys think of the peas?" I think most people would be like, "Yeah, I did that for her. I know the reference of using frozen veggies as a thing, but I'm like, yeah, but remember that's why this whole thing started."
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people miss it. And maybe it's because recently I'm watching anime with Bethany and she's like, "Why is there an elephant?" I go, "The fucking giant elephant is the island." Maybe it's because I have those moments recently where I'm like, man, people are just missing out on these key things.
I'd say it's pretty rare for me that I'm watching something with someone and at the end they throw a question in the air that really was like, whoa, I didn't know that was a question one could ask. You know, like I didn't know anyone could have missed that or that it could have been interpreted different or whatever, but there, you know, Humanist Vampire, that one. She there's a moment this is a good example of it. There's a moment in that movie where she gets kicked out and is like, "You need to kill somebody to eat. I'm not going to keep feeding you for the rest of your life. You get nothing from me. You're going to go live with your cousin, who's known to be a hard ass earlier in the movie." So she's with her cousin, and her cousin's like, "Why aren't you hungry yet? Like, you should be starving. You should be wanting to kill somebody. What's going on?" And she's got a blood bag, and she's like, "How the fuck did you get that blood bag? Like, where'd that come from?" And, you know, she goes and she tosses the empty bag away, and she has a little cooler that her dad sent her with of like, just a little bit to ease.
Oh, that's never happened before. We might be wearing out these cameras. Well, we got another camera. Hold.
Well, hold, pause. Camera out. Ayo. Oh my gosh, how you doing that to the background? It's crazy. It's happening live.
Oh, this is really different.
That plate, huh? Oh yeah, we're looking good-ish. Just one little punching. Just punching just a little bit.
I want to make sure you got headroom. You're a big boy.
That's true.
There you go. Look at that.
It's close enough.
Close enough. And we're back. Wait,
And it's-
that's a
and it's
green
kind of in
screen.
focus.
Yeah. All right. That's
So anyway.
that's a little nerve-wracking actually, just
So
for
anyway.
actual stuff.
She yeah, right. She so she opens up a cooler. It's got blood baggies in it. Dad says, "Here's just a little something to, you know, ease you in," because he's been
Tide you
He's been the
over, yeah.
softy the whole movie. So then she's like, and she puts the lid on the cooler, and the cooler is next to her bed, and we're framed like above her bed. And she lays down and does her little vampire across her hands and fall asleep without moving. All the lights go dark and change. Clearly, time has passed, and the lid is off of the cooler. And Shay goes, "Dang, she really drank through all that blood real quick." And I was like, "No, Shay, this is the same night her cousin found the blood and it's gone. Like, she's going to roll over and try to grab one. And it's going to be empty and she's going to freak out." And then she, like, you know, wriggles awake and rolls over and tries to grab one. And like, I was like, it's the same night. Her body didn't move. It's the same frame, different time of night. She's been asleep. Like, the inference of she didn't move. She didn't drink this.
Yeah.
She didn't just assume the same position. But it's just so funny. She's like, "Wow, she drank through that quick." Was like, and I was like, "No, it's going to be this, then this, then this." And it was like play by play.
Yeah.
Called it. And there are clearly differences in how people interpret the information they're visually receiving.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Okay.
So it did happen. It happened with Shay, but would she have known the peas? I don't know, because that's like more of a story beat, instead of interpreting a piece of info two different ways, she wouldn't be like, the carrots. You know, she wouldn't have done that. She would have been like, "Oh, the peas," tied it together, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I might be making too much of a deal of it, and maybe people would have gotten it, but I just
When you get into something and you like it like that, you know?
I feel like I've had these moments before, or it's one of those things where I watch and I go, "Oh fuck, that's so good," and then I'll be like, "Hey, you should watch this," and I sit and watch it, and then it happens, and I go,
Yeah, I know.
and they're like that, or they're
On the phone.
and I'm like,
dude. I seriously think it already happened to me too long ago of showing somebody something and them just not liking it in the same way, and then seeing them distract. I'm like, I can't do this to myself again.
I 100%.
So I have a different expectation now. I assume I'm showing somebody something that it doesn't have. They don't have to like it. They don't whatever.
I forget what it was.
I've been surprised recently. Derek liked An American Werewolf in London. I didn't expect that. Everybody liked Underworld. I kind of expected that.
Yeah, I think it was something we were watching
Or
here.
Underwater. I keep saying Underworld.
I thought you meant Underwater, but I was like, maybe you also watched
No,
Underworld.
I meant Underwater.
But watching some movie with Taylor and Caitlin, and when we all get together, it's a lot of drinking and like talking
Milling
while
about. Yeah.
But I put on a movie. I was like, we should watch this
Well,
movie.
you put on some of the fun, silly.
Yeah. Well, but for this one time, I put on something that was like, we need to watch. I forget what it was now because it was like one of the first things because I learned the lesson when I know something big's coming up that's really important, and it goes, oh, so I wanted to tell you guys. I was like, not right now. You can't do that right now. You can't do that right now. And they go, why did I have to see that? I'm like, it's not important now, but if you don't see it now, you won't get it in 45 minutes. And then why did we even sit here? And like, it's like, I was like, now it's different. Now I put on funny things, random things. I'm like, you can miss whatever. I'll watch what I want to watch. If you don't get it, cool. I don't show people it anymore. But it was that same thing. I was like, how do you just not get it?
When I went to go see The Dark Knight Rises with my family for the first time, because remember I told you I went with a buddy, and then I went a couple other times showing people. We traveled to Grand Rapids to watch it in IMAX. It was like an early birthday gift or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we went, it's just me, my mom, my sister. We're watching Dark Knight Rises. And we get all the way to the end of the movie. And right as Joseph Gordon-Levitt's putting his bag on the counter and girl reads the tag and, oh, Robin, that's a nice
yeah.
name. Right as that happens, my sister just leans to my mom and starts going, start asking a question, and they talk straight through it. And I like whack whoever it is. I'm like, did you hear that? And they're like, no, what he's saying. I was like, his name's Robin. And she goes, no way, that's crazy. And I was like, that was my mom's reaction.
Yeah.
Nothing on her, of course. It's completely not her fault. I just wanted to strangle my sister. I was like, we're in Grand Rapids. We drove 2 hours to come watch this near 3-hour movie. And this to me was like, it's got the music, it's got the pacing. We're about to see Batman and Alfred looking at each other, where we get the Robin drop. Oh, he's going into the cave, like all of this stuff. And she just starts asking fucking questions. I'm like, oh. She recently did it with the end of WandaVision too.
Okay.
That
I didn't see this one, but
that's fair. So I won't tell you exactly what's happening, but Vision and Wanda are like whispering to each other, like in a sort of, we're about to have this really explosive thing, or this explosive thing just happened, and we're at like the fallout of it.
mm-hmm.
It's not 1-to-1, but imagine it was like the moment that Pepper and Iron Man had after he snapped. It's just moments. Like the important thing happened. I saw it. I'm watching it on the couch. My sister comes up. Hey, I was thinking, what do you want for dinner? Like, she's not watching the show at all. And I go, she should be. This is the last like 5 minutes of a series I've watched. And she gets so pissed and she storms off and she starts texting me, you motherfucker, you piece of shit. How could you talk to me like that? And I'm like, oh my God, I was 5 minutes away from the end. Yep. Why you got to start asking me about dinner? How come when I tell you to shut up, it's like the worst thing in the world? Oh my God.
I'm not saying like,
it was a series too, though.
Right,
It was a 10th episode of a series I've waited week to week to watch. This is 10 weeks coming, and she fucking yells at me about dinner.
And I wanted to be clear. I'm not coming into this being like, people like we watch things better than other people, or we get it, they don't get it. I don't want to be. I don't want that.
My sister told me that one time.
That's not what I want.
That she watches things better than I do.
I'm coming in like I want them to have the experience I had. That's all I want. I'm not here to say that I've watched it better, or I understand it, or like, oh, you didn't like that movie, you just didn't get it. Not saying that at all. Hate that. It's that I want you to have the same moment I had when I saw those peas hit the counter. That's what I want for everybody.
Yeah,
it's
but
like
people don't like. Not everyone likes stories like that.
True.
They don't want that feeling. You know?
Exactly.
Like the feeling of fucking cartoon boy hitting the ball and I care.
Yep.
That guy. I've had that feeling in sports. There are a lot of people that'll never get that feeling. They don't want the feeling. They can't maybe conceptualize it, because if they ever got it, they'd be like, this might be the rest of my life chasing this.
I actually saw there was they do the TikTok street interviews, and they're like, someone was like, what's the greatest arc in anime? And someone was like, I don't think it's an arc, but when Tsukishima realizes he's in love with volleyball, I've never felt more anything from any type
that's
of
the
media.
moment I'm talking
Yes.
about? Yeah.
And I went, fuck, yes, this guy gets it, dude.
I've never felt more from any media. That's
From
great.
anything.
That's
He's
great.
like, it's like that moment meant so much just because of all this. And I didn't know I was going to get the moment. And I was like, exactly. You didn't know we were going to get him to love volleyball. He could have been a side character that just always hated volleyball. That could have been his entire character. But then he gets it. And I was like, anyway.
No, yeah, it's that kind of thing. Those feelings, those grand feelings that I often get, mostly about, I'll say storytelling. Generally, agreed. It's just people who don't want that feeling. Like we love Blake, and he has different goals and feelings he's trying to achieve in life. And watching and achieving anything from a story is not the same.
Yeah.
Like he plays D&D, so I'd say there's a different storytelling there. That is like maybe you try to get that feeling. It's hard for me to conceptualize that because I dislike D&D strongly. I'm like, how do you have that big of a group feeling that you couldn't get from that haiku moment or from a bag of peas? You know what I mean? Or whatever, a spinning top or whatever it is in a movie, right? But I don't ever think I could try to show Blake, for instance, anything I love and have him take it as the way I want him to. I think also
It's
not his fault. It's
recently, James, who may still be in chat, recently played Alan Wake, which is my favorite game of all time. And he didn't take to the first one, like the second one more. And it's like when I give him shit about the first one and he goes, oh, I hated where the camera switched shoulders. I went, fuck, I didn't even notice that because literally anything could have been happening. And I was so invested in the story. It didn't matter that the controller was in my hand. And I'm like, I'm not mad at him, but I'm like, oh, I'm so sad you missed out on that feeling that I had because very few things have given me that.
I had to watch you play the first Last of Us chapter. And I can't kick this fucking ball. It's whatever, 2 out of 10. I was like, why the fuck do you care about that soccer ball, bro? Like, oh my God, you're like not in this game at all.
Great news. In the second one, you could kick a soccer ball at one point. And I was like, they fucking did it. Last of Us 2, better than Last of Us 1, confirmed.
Which apparently is also controversial.
Which is crazy.
I think two's clearly. Nah, I won't say clearly. The first one's very good. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, yep. Go back.
I just don't expect anyone to love anything I love anymore. But I do like showing people the silly ones.
Yeah.
I show people Ninja 3, Hokkaido, Skate Town USA, shit that I'm like, if you don't like this, I don't care because I have it. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, to go a little bit more mainstream on it, is like, that's one of my favorites now.
I think they're not as silly, but I think there's certain movies where I'm like, I show people because I love it so much, and I go, it doesn't matter if you like it or not. I could understand you not liking it, but I love it. Like Creep. If I show someone Creep and they go, that's not for me, and I go, totally get it. Fucking, I live for this shit. Like this is.
That's one. That's one that's like, I know people. Skate Town USA, I think, has a universal appeal.
It's just crazy enough
like,
that it works.
Yeah, it's like there's something. It's like it's 150 happy people roller skating. Okay, like Singing in the Rain is another one of my all-time favorite movies. If I show that to anyone, I'm like, you're gonna walk away happy. Like you can't not, because, or Back to the Future or something.
Yeah.
I don't feel I could show Blake Back to the Future if he hadn't seen it. I could show him Singing in the Rain. I could not show him Creep to compare, because I also really liked that movie. That was really good. Creep Tapes came out this week.
I know. I almost
some.
I was gonna say,
of them.
I think it started with 2 episodes.
2 episodes,
yeah.
So
And I was like,
I haven't told you because I'm like, you're probably gonna want to go bang, 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 bang.
I know, because in my head I was like, it came out and I was like, I could probably fit in 1 episode right now before I stream with Alec, and I was like, but do I want to just watch 1 episode, or am I gonna want to just keep going?
I understand that they're separate.
They're
things,
separate,
though,
totally.
Right? So it's like, do you want to watch 1 short film or something?
But am I gonna get the taste of this and go, I need the other one, and then I'm gonna be done and be like, I'm still hungry. I'm still hungry.
Be like, you know what I'll do? I'll get the food to go. I'll eat the fries here, and then I'll get in my car and drive home and eat the burger and I'll get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like, what am I thinking?
Yep, I'm gonna want to sit and eat it all. So, but yeah, I think a big one that always comes to mind when I think of people getting it or not getting it, it's the movie Enemy with Jake Gyllenhaal. It's like, if you, at the end of that movie, if you get it, it's amazing. If you don't get it, there's no helping you like that movie. You can't really get explained to it afterwards and have the same enjoyment of that movie. Yeah. You might be able to understand and go, oh, I get it.
Dude, that movie
but you don't
fucking
get it.
Jump scared me at the end. I was like, oh, fuck. Just up on the wall.
Yeah.
Like, and, you know, I'm not an arachnophobe, but my skin was buzzing.
Yes.
Like that, the visualization, yeah.
And that's one
That
of those
movie's
ones,
good.
if I go and I go, did you watch Enemy? Did you like it? They go, I don't know. It's confusing. I was like, oh, okay. That's fine. I can't, even if I explain everything to you right now, that doesn't
I didn't
mean
know
you
you
get
liked
it.
that movie so much.
That's another one I
I
kind of
liked
talk
it enough.
about, don't talk about.
I showed my family.
Oh, really?
It was during COVID. We watched
okay.
a lot of movies.
That's one of those movies
but
where
I
I'm
was like, hey, I think we watched Arrival. For whatever reason. And I was watching it again, and I was like, maybe it was an alien movie. Shay loves aliens, so like, we'll watch this one. And they took to it, and they really liked it. And I was like, cool, we should watch another movie by this guy. You guys like Jake Gyllenhaal, right? Yeah, okay, let's do this. And yeah, my family liked it. I mean, I think they're probably, if I'm choosing a movie and showing it to them, I think they're at the point now of them just being afraid to tell me they don't like it.
okay.
Which I think is good.
Enemy is one that I'm afraid
just
to
kidding.
show people because I could see someone not clicking with them or them not like understanding the ending to where when it cuts to black, I don't want people to go, wait, what? Because then it's like, oh, we just, I don't know, it's 2 hours or whatever, but it's like, oh, you missed out on the 2 hours. You didn't, but you did because of that cut to black and you didn't get it.
Yeah.
But so I've been afraid to show that one to people, but it's one that I remember it cutting to black and me going like, oh my God, it's just like, again, in an empty room looking to anybody to talk to and just me standing there.
Yeah, I mean, there are movies like Enemy where at the end of it, maybe not as much like Enemy, maybe one step, I don't want to say deeper, but a layer of subtext or something that is like Infinity Pool is when I was like, man, I really liked that movie. And I got this, and this from it. Shay, what did you get? Oh, this. Oh, we talk about it. And then I go, I'm going to go read like 10 pages about this movie.
Yeah.
Because I think I could like it more if I understand more of and Enemy was one of those where I was like, oh, fuck, he sees his wife this way now, whatever. But then I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. I like, there is the spider in the beginning that's like the crushing of the, and I was like, I viewed that because it's women in heels crushing the spider. That I was like, oh, he's the spider. Was my first thought. I was like, I'm pulling something, he's a spider. And then the spider walking through the city when he goes to his grandma, or his mom, rather. She's kind of a grandma, but his mom. And I was like, okay, that was a very different spider. Why was it so big? Is it like grief? Is it women crushing grief? Is it whatever? And then she's the spider at the end. And I've already known, like, you feel trapped. Like I've accumulated this thought through the whole movie. You feel trapped. So then to be like, the spider is women. Like the spider is like is like being an arachnophobe. You're afraid of like its commitment. It's being tied to somebody. The old spider is his mother.
Each spider is a different type of fear, but it's always woman.
It's tied to a connection to commitment, we'll say, and women. And I was like, okay, that ties the bow on my thoughts of this movie. But I didn't go at the end and say she's a spider, it's commitment, spiders are his fear. Like, I get that,
I think for me it was,
so I didn't tie it that fast, but I got there.
for me it was like I thought we were going on a journey for him to get over the fears represented by the spider, but then at the end when it's there
But
again,
you
you're
only
like,
see 3 spiders in the movie, that I can recall. So by the time after the second spider, I'm not like, this is his fear. I didn't think of it like that. The first one, I was like, he's the spider, right? Because it's crushed and it's the first thing you see. I think if I remember, it's how it literally opens.
I think so.
And then it's like in that scene, I should say.
I was gonna say because it doesn't start. The car crash doesn't have like you see the car, then later, it's only in the middle, right?
I think it's only the middle. I don't think they play from like, let's start at the beginning now.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering if there's a quick shot.
And then
of
the
that. I don't
second
think so.
one, because it's walking through the city, I'm like, well, he just walked through the city to get there. So like, how is he a spider? Because it's him getting crushed. It's him moving to his mom. It's a different spider, but I didn't view the spider as old, even though it's like grandma spider is the idea. But I don't know. I didn't tie it that fast, but I did get the themes of the movie. I got the idea of
the spider web and the cracked driver.
As soon as there's a second person, I'm like, well, that person's not real. That's my first thought is like split personality now. Yeah. I'm like, what is it really? So
what are we really talking about?
Maybe you should watch Infinity Pool.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, this is the ones I don't recommend to people because I'm like, not only do I think it's weird enough that it's like kind of grotesque in some spots and you might not like to visually witness this movie, but also at the end of it, Shay was like, I don't know. And it took my like, no, here's why I loved it so much. And she's like, okay, I guess I would watch it again, is where she kind of ended.
Is that the one, what's the one, is that the one with like a really intense body horror? What was that one?
Intense?
Yeah,
body
like-
horror. That's the other. That's Daddy Cronenberg.
Right. What
That's
was
Daddy
that one?
David Cronenberg. That one's where surgery's the new sex.
Yeah.
With Kristen Stewart. Yeah. Why can't I think of the name of that one?
But it's something like infinity or like ethereal wording like that, isn't it?
I'll pull it up.
Maybe
real
I'm
quick.
just getting it
because
really
I
confused.
can't pull off the top of my head. But
Dang.
yeah, that was with Viggo Mortensen. And
Yes.
Go to Kristen Stewart because I know she was recently in it. Crimes of the Future.
No, definitely. Yeah, that is definitely right. That's obviously the one I was thinking of. I don't know why I thought Infinity Pool was that name title wise, but okay.
No, Infinity Pool is anything you would have seen in the trailer. It's Mia Goth. James.
Oh, yeah, I saw that scene.
I know because I had to show it. Every time I say James'
Yeah.
name, I think it now. Jamesy boy. She doesn't say that, but I think it. But it was it's Alexander Skarsgård goes to like a resort.
What was
And
the
then craziness ensues. I guess there's like I can't really say anything, but
We're
I really enjoyed it.
talking about like weird or different movies?
Oh.
What the have you? God, what's the director's name? He did. Is it not Tree of Life? God, what's the movie with Brad Pitt and Sean Penn? It like takes you through life.
Babel.
No,
So that's Brad Pitt too.
God dang it! What is it called?
Oh,
it's
it-
something life.
That's Brad Pitt. Yeah, Tree of Life.
Is it Tree of Life?
Yeah, Terrence Malick. Yeah,
Terrence
the guy
Malick.
who's never been photographed.
Yes.
Like no one knows what he looks
The,
like. I mean,
uh,
that's not real. But
Right. Have you seen Tree of Life or anything?
I've seen Terrence Malick movies. I've seen Days of Heaven,
Okay. There's like
but not Tree of Life.
it's
no.
it's one of those movies where I feel like for a while in the snobbery area, I was like, I have to watch these movies because these are film, these are cinema.
Yeah. Terrence Malick's that kind of guy.
And I
yeah.
just remember watching Tree of Life at like I think it started at like 10:30 at night in the theater, and it was probably the hardest to stay awake I've ever had to do.
10:30. Yeah, dude.
It
geez,
was-
it's got to be a long one. His movies are long. 220.
2:20. It was just like oh my god, I cannot stay awake in this movie. And it. If you like it, cool. I didn't like it, obviously, but it was just like, oh my god, I picked the wrong time to try to watch
That's
this movie.
one I could get behind is Days of Heaven. If you haven't seen that one, that was I think it won best cinematography that year.
Is it? Do they just
78. Richard Gere, Brooke Adams, Sam Shepard.
I'm wondering if it's like because Tree of Life for me, the problem was it was like
94 on Metascore.
it was, Brad Pitt has kids and the kids fight and they get in trouble and Brad Pitt's talking to him like teaching him like life lessons, but all of his dialogue's like muted. It's like
There's
good-
nothing that artsy about
it's
this.
like-
This is just a movie.
because it's like, hey, you don't need to know what he's saying. You know what's happening, and I'm like, I understand that, but like, I
Dialogue's
kind of
important.
want to know what he's saying exactly.
Yeah, but I'm a writer, says Brent.
It was like there was a lot of that, and then there was like a lot of Sean Penn's one of the kids grown up and like walking on the beach, and it's like his journey. It's like I was like, I get what you're saying, but you could have said it in a way that maybe wasn't so quiet in a way. But if that one's more of like a normal movie, then I'll definitely check it out.
It is more of a normal. I wouldn't recommend this one. Days
Oh,
of
no?
Heaven.
Okay.
No, I mean that's the one that's like no, it's like you'd watch it in film school, and
Gotcha.
it's just boring, but
Mhm.
it's beautiful. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's about as much as I could say. I would say the same for recently Silence by Martin
Oh,
Scorsese.
okay.
That's one that I'm like. That was the best, worst movie I've ever seen. That I'm like, I don't ever want to see this again, but just a miracle of filmmaking. Every shot, I was like, wow, this is gorgeous. I fucking hate this. This is gorgeous. Terrible.
Because I thought Tree of Life was the one with Hugh Jackman that he did after, like I think he did it after The Prestige. I forget why it was like Hugh Jackman was like a thing, and then this movie came out. I was like, oh, I got to check this out.
You're
It's Hugh
thinking
Jackman.
Australia. Just
No, but it's like something like that. It's like, oh my god, he cuts bark off this tree in this bubble and he eats it, and he's like ethereal. And man, what was that movie?
Dude, I have no idea what you're talking about. Looking The Fountain?
The Fountain. That was it.
That was right before The Prestige.
Or for The Prestige. Okay,
Yeah, and it's got a big
maybe I
old
went
tree.
back.
can see
Yep,
it.
that was it. That one I thought was Tree of Life. That one's another one where I watched and I went, okay.
That's some heady shit.
Yep. I was
Yeah.
like, cool. Who did that one? What was the director on it?
It's too late.
Okay.
It's too late.
We've come too far. No turning back. Like Harold and Kumar.
But also, I'll give you the answer.
Thanks.
Darren Aronofsky. Yeah, that
There
makes
we go.
sense.
I was like, it's another one of those.
Oh,
There we go.
He did Black Swan and
Yep.
Mother and Noah. Did you watch Noah?
I did watch Noah.
God,
Noah's
dude,
one.
What a trip.
That's the thing is,
What a trip.
I went into Noah going like, oh man, I have been burned. Like, was it Black Swan? I think is a good movie. I don't really love it. Like a lot of people really loved it, but I was like, it's a good movie. I appreciate it. But then I remember The Fountain and stuff, and I went into Noah and I was like, oh man, I don't know. But it was like a little bit in the movie. I go, I don't think this is supposed to be funny, but it's almost funny to watch this movie because it's like that trip. It's Megalopolis. It's like we're going on a journey.
Yeah,
and I don't
it
know,
should have been Noah.
I couldn't believe
Fable.
exactly. I was like, I can't believe this is the
Yeah.
journey we're going on.
I was like, man, I don't remember giant rock golems in the Bible.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Or isn't there a dude with like a flaming sword? He throws it down. And it's like whoosh, like flames and all.
Dude, is it Sodom, the city?
I think so. Yeah.
That I'm just like, yo, what? This city's crazy.
Crazy.
I would love to watch that again, actually.
with Gladiator because
Shay and I watched Mother together, and that was when she's like, I could never do that movie again. It was too much. And I'm like, oh yeah. What do you think it was about?
that one I skipped. But
Really? Recommend.
okay.
I enjoyed that movie a lot.
For me-
Javier Bardem and J Law in it, they're so good.
For
that
me, it was like the trailer's happening. I go, I don't really have interest. And then there's the one shot of her like on stairs and everyone's like reaching up or something. There's like a crowd of people. Like
I didn't see the trailer, so
That-
I know the moment.
that shot, I went, oh, that looked cool. I'm gonna sit through a lot of movie to get to that
well,
shot though.
if I would have seen Black Swan, The Fountain, Noah, and then been like, should I watch his next one, this Mother, and you see it and you're like, no, I can
Yeah.
understand that. I can
Yes.
be like, I'm
It was a
good.
journey.
Oh, dude, Black Swan has like one moment. I'm doing this right now,
With the
just
nails?
thinking about it, dude. I'm like, oh, and I've watched a lot of shit, but just the peel. I'm like,
Is that the one where it's like it's got the little tab at the end? And it's like,
the cuticle, and she peels the cuticle down her finger, I'm like, all the way down to like her knuckle. I'm like, oh,
yep.
that's just so much.
It's like
so much.
Beyond visceral for some reason.
Yeah,
After all
it's
the gore that
tough.
we've partaken in.
For sure.
but
I
that
could
is
watch
like-
Ichi the Killer right now sooner than I could rewatch the peeling
Yep.
of a cuticle.
I think of like Hatchet, where you take a saw from shoulder to hip, and it's like
Yeah.
fine, totally cool.
Terrifiers.
But then it's just
Yeah.
like
It's like, oh, that's real.
it's
As
yeah.
soon as something can be real,
Yep.
I'm like,
the same thing. I have the same issue with medical stuff. Like if I'm watching a surgery happen, sometimes I get skeeved out because I'm like, fuck, that's what they wanted to happen. Like
Yeah,
that's
they
not.
go-
It's not an
and it's
accident.
such a buttery cut,
and it's
then
always
just
at
blood
that
starts
weird
coming.
like oranges, like the dye or whatever, the iodine, the weird coloring. I go, oh, that's what they wanted to have happen. That was the goal of what they were trying to
someone's
achieve.
every day.
I
Roughly,
I cannot believe that. Not for me. That's why I make YouTube stuff.
Yeah. When like Shay, when we were watching the autopsy of Jane Doe, she goes, "How much autopsy is in this movie?" I'm like, I understand that question. Not much. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But anytime anyone was like, "All right, let me grab this tool," she goes, "Nope." I'm like, you can't even see him. Shit.
You can't see
Stop,
it.
Just start looking.
Oh man, there's something else I was going to go with off of one of those things, and now I can't remember because then you did the finger thing, and now
Sorry.
that's all right. It probably wasn't that important. I was just probably going to go off on another tangent down a long road as we find ourselves on many a time.
Yeah. It is fun having people in my life that are like, "Oh, you like movies? What are good ones I should
Like Ben?
watch?" Like not like Ben. No, like movie Stokes. But having the people go like, "Oh, so what are these good ones I should watch? Like what are the?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm past that. I'm watching garbage."
Yes.
Now. You've caught me in the dumpster. You can't ask me what's at the nice restaurant across the street
Right,
anymore.
right.
It's been too long.
My palate has declined.
Devolved.
Yes. It's
Yeah,
all good
it's
now.
just I'm a different man. You know,
It's
it's all good.
It's all good.
I'm real good at finding the silver linings.
Well, when I was talking about I wanted to watch recently, I was like, I want to get really high, watch the Mark Wahlberg Transformers movie.
Yeah, you did say that.
And I forget what it was. Oh, we were talking Fast and Furious. I was playing games with Alec and M. I was like, Fast and Furious, and they're like, oh yeah, I think this could happen. The next one, I was like, well, in 9 they went to space, so anything's possible. And they went to space. I was like, you didn't see Fast? I was like, no, I stopped at like 6, and I went, oh my god, anything's possible in the movies. They're like, they just kind of got dumb, and I was like, no, you're misunderstanding. A wise man once told me every sandwich needs a bit of cheese. Those are just grilled cheeses, dude, and you gotta have grilled cheeses every now and again. And for a while now, I feel like I've been on a grilled cheese kick, and they don't get bad.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like eventually grilled cheese can't be your only diet, but they just have been.
They have been for a while.
It changes you.
We branch out and we touch other things.
Yeah, I don't think I don't know. I don't know what I like anymore. I'm willing to watch anything, try anything.
Yep.
So
I think the big thing for me now is a movie's got to be very like not do something different like artsy, but it's almost got to give me something different to attach to that I haven't already attached to 100 times or something. You know, if it's a character motivation or you know a different. Like it's the same movie you've seen a million times, but instead they're in like I think of what was the Jake Gyllenhaal one, Buzzsaw something.
Oh,
Velvet Buzzsaw. When I'm like, I've seen like this kind of movie, but it's in the art world. I haven't seen it done in that. That's cool. I can attach to something new like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like watching the whatever movies is because not every mainstream movie can take those chances, but an off the wall indie film or something like that could take the chance. And it's like, well, we're gonna put it. It's going to be in a roller rink. That's going to be this movie. You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
That's
okay.
all that movie has. Shay was like, "What's the plot?" I'm like, "Shay, you're watching it. It's here." I'm like, "There's a tournament that's going to happen." She goes, "Well, I know, but we just watched this guy like accidentally put drugs in pizza," and I'm like, "Yeah,
yeah."
You're just going to get little vignettes as you go through. Here's what's happening in the rink on this side of the rink.
That's kind of cool. It's almost like
it doesn't have like a. If you were to just take the plot out and put it in a line, it's a 15-minute movie.
Like if you were like, cool, I want an idea, vignettes of stories, but it's going to be in a roller rink, it's going to be in a mall, it's going to be in a this or that. I'm like, oh, that's kind of like a cool. Like, say we wanted to make a film and we had access to a blank thing, like a place, and I'm
bowling alley.
Yeah,
Sure.
A bowling alley. We could write vignette or short films that all somehow piece together with one little tiny through line. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, and the tiny through line, it doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
I'm more like that's the thing is like there's of course there's 1,000 smoking hot people in that movie, but one smoking hot babe walks up to the snack counter and says, "Can I get some pizza?" And then this really old, like probably in his like 80s at the time, comedian comes up and starts just spitting jokes at her nonstop. And for the rest of the movie, you'll just cut to her, look at him. How about a punchline? Can I please get my pizza? Cut away. For the rest of the whole movie, and you're like, we just do this now.
This is now
like
a
this
thing.
is just this.
Somehow it got established.
Yeah.
Does she get her pizza in the end?
You'll have to watch it.
No, I knew it was coming. I do want to watch it, but I do feel like to really
Let's
get the
get
experience
high,
we'd have to sit down and get high and actually because I can't be like, oh, I'll get on your Plex and I'll watch it one night because I don't think I'll have the same experience or the same joy from it.
No, you won't. Which is kind of like Rob watched it off my Plex and said he loved it, and I'm like, I trust him to watch something solo and love it.
Yeah.
But sometimes things are just like, man, you're not getting the like. I had to remind someone, I'm like, just so you remember, this is a roller rink created by a wizard. Why is there a wizard in the beginning? I don't know. And just, I got to point out the things. I'm like, look, this is Patrick Swayze's first movie. Look what he's doing with his first movie. He's a skate punk. You know what I mean?
That's great. The new Street Trash came out or it comes out?
I think it has a festival run right now.
Okay. Well, I just saw like a
Probably
bunch
got
of
reviews or something.
bunch of posts online. I was like, oh, did this drop already? So maybe they're talking about the festival run or something.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah. Did you have anything else? Do you have anything?
I've had I told you about it off camera about the free to play game feeling that I've been having.
Yeah.
That's just like, why am I? Generally, I have been playing a lot of games that are battle pass oriented. Like that's been what I've been looking for is like, let me just have a checklist. I can just work through a battle pass and get cosmetics and I can pay the game $10 or $20 and I'm good for a while. But Call of Duty, something about that like almost triggered me in the opposite way. I am playing for free in a way because I've Game Pass.
Yep.
But I was going to cancel Game Pass the month that it actually came out.
Oh, okay.
But my thing subscribed afterwards or whatever. So I was like, I'll just wait. And then it came out, and I think it was you who told me, oh, you can just play it. I think you said you downloaded it or something like that. And you're like, I had to pick the packs and pick the thing. And I'm like, oh, it sounds like Call of Duty. And I was like, wait, that means I could do it on PC. Like, I was just going to buy Call of Duty. I'll just keep Game Pass. I was going to cancel it, but I'll keep it for another. If I do it for 6 months, it's still worth the money, right?
Oh yeah. Plus all the other games that could come out,
and I was like, let's see. I get all the anytime there's a yellow dot that's like, hey, there's something new here. I got to clear that dot. I'm like, it's just part of the like. Let me make sure I'm seeing everything this game wants me to see. And I go to the store and there's a blue dragon skin bundle, whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, I should pick my Ash skin that I bought in the last Call of Duty, and I wasn't able to, and whatever. And the store is empty except for like 3 things because they haven't filled it with shit yet.
Right.
But I'm like, it's the equivalency here. It's like $30 for this skin. Like that's crazy. And then I think I'm subscribed to the Fortnite crew thing, which I still think is great value, even if you don't give them any other money. I think it really is good value. I'm at like 2,000-ish V-Bucks right now. And I'm just like, that can really get me a lot of stuff. And as I keep getting further in the battle pass, I'm going to end up at like 2,700 by the end or something. There.
Plus you're getting all the cosmetics you're getting in the battle pass or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm also like, I'm really happy with mine right now. Like you'd have to give me something that's like, oh, you can play as, I don't know, the lead singer of the Bee Gees. I'd be like, dude, speaking on disco.
I really want a new anime one to drop. Because I do like the anime.
It's cool.
Look.
The like art style. Yeah, but I see that and I'm just like, I go to the shop and I'm looking at it and it's a little different because I pay the $10 and I get the pass, and if I play and whatever, I end up getting like $20 worth of currency. So it feels like the 2,000 is not really $20, but it is.
Yeah.
So when I see a skin priced out, I'm like, if I were to just come in raw only to buy the Alan Wake skin like you might have because of your time away, it's like, man, that's like a $25 purchase. This skin is not worth that. I know it.
Yep.
And same thing with League. They do the same thing. Overwatch does the same thing. I mean, Overwatch had the one when it first came out, people were all up in arms, but every game does it now. So I don't know why people were pissed. But I think it's called Pachirisu. It's the like little octopus that is like a green with like a pink face. And it's got all its legs up and it's happy. That the gun buddy, the gun charm, to speak in Halo terms, the weapon charm that you have that like hangs off your gun, it costs more digitally than a physical real keychain with shipping to your house. Yeah. And it's just like, man, I understand that the people need to be paid, and that also this is the price that the market has decided is okay. Like it's not, I'm not even really blaming them. I just can't believe that games as services have really gotten to a spot where people want to play one single game so long that they're okay spending $80 a quarter on one, single game to get all the skins and to stay up to date with all the emotes that use licensed songs and things.
It's things like that makes you go, oh, I know why PlayStation tried to make Concord happen. You know what I mean? Like, I get why they tried, but you had to do it a different way because the big thing was the $40 price point and all that difference. But it's like, I understand why PlayStation was trying to reach into that cookie jar, because I see it work everywhere.
More so, I like the one that comes X Defiant is one that I'm like, I can see where Ubisoft says we have a suite of things and we can give skins for Splinter Cell versus Rainbow Six versus we could do an Assassin's Creed skin. We could tie these things together and introduce new characters from new games and whatever. I don't know why that game didn't take off as well as it should have. I didn't take to it, but I don't play shooters like that. I play team, tank and DPS and healer kind of shooters.
I did play X Defiant for a hot minute. I think I felt like, I don't know. I'm trying to think back why I didn't like shooting, because even though I don't play a lot of Call of Duty, loading up the new Call of Duty, running around and shooting people, I still find fun. I don't think I found X Defiant fun to shoot people.
Zombies has been fun.
Yeah.
Just separately. It's my buddy Tim is grinding to get there's like, you can get every gun gold and then you can get every gun diamond. And then if you get every gun diamond, it gives you another challenge of skins. And if you get everything that one, it goes up another one, whatever.
Dang. Okay.
I think there's only 4 tiers. Gold, opal, I think is what they call it. Call it mastery gold, opal, and then the
Does
two
it look
other-
like
there's one that's
pearl
like
or something?
hexen. Yeah, it's like stippled with,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
shiny. The multiplayer one is diamond. Then there's a set of skins for Warzone, and then a set of skins for zombie. But if you get all of the zombie skins, and then you can take it into multiplayer or Warzone and have all your guns doing this like crazy, craggly, like galaxy under ice kind of animation. And he's grinding for that. So he's like playing it with the focus of, I'm going to use this gun this time with this loadout, and I'm just going to get critical shots. I'm just getting headshots. And he's not even halfway through assault rifles, let alone SMGs, snipers, shotguns, launchers, melee. You know, like you got a long way to go. And snipers is tough because you only get one bullet.
Right.
You
Yeah.
better be hitting that head, and then you got to do it 900 times. Crazy for one gun, then another gun, and then another gun, and then it's like it's so much. But I'm like, man, you're gonna grind for all that, and you're not gonna play this game ever again. He doesn't play Call of Duty like ever. So it's interesting that it's like games have seemed to, a lot of games, many of these live service or online games are like, to fully get everything out of this game that you probably want, it has to be your only game.
Yeah.
Or even by the time you achieve the thing, you won't even get to use it because you're going to be so burnt out.
Yeah.
That it's like, I'm feeling pulled to 15 games at once now, but that isn't good enough to supply the battle pass that I want. So it's like, I have to, like, in the mornings, I play games and I log in and do a Fortnite set of dailies. And then I go over to New World and do a set of dailies, which is typically like doing a dungeon, and that covers all of them. And then Overwatch is get a win, do emotes, play 3 games, all roles, whatever. And I'm like, by the time I finish all these games, I did it almost just to test. I was like, let me do everything. Loaded up Diablo, played until I got a battle pass level because they don't have dailies. And then I hopped into zombies. I like just went through the gamut of games that are like my live services. By the time I finished, I had to just get dressed and leave. It was, and I wake up at 6:30. I make tea in the morning, so I'm probably done gaming at 6:40.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, maybe. And then I'm leaving for the house at like 9:10. So what was that, 32 hours and 30 minutes for my dailies? Fuck that.
That's a time.
That's too much. And I'm like, it was Arena. I did a Arena, which I didn't even finish because I didn't have time. I actually didn't finish it.
Because in my head, I try to fit in the gym every morning, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I would love an hour and a half of gym time. I don't usually get an hour and a half. I get an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, and then I usually have to get back to get a car somewhere, or I got to be able to get showered so I can get in and make breakfast.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, an hour and a half would be great. 2.5 hours for dailies is
Anywhere in the day.
It's
and that's
crazy.
to say, like, I have my Steam Deck. It's actually charging at home right now. I know
Right,
I'm not
right, yeah,
playing
yeah.
today, but I have my Steam Deck with me. I can do a lot of things on there. Arena, it's on my phone. I can put it anywhere else. Fortnite's available. We have consoles here. But it's just like, I don't want to actually have to do like real wizard chores.
yeah.
And the only reason this matters to me is like, okay, we'll just go play Spider-Man because then I could just do the story and just play then. And I was doing Cyberpunk in mornings for a while. But I have been saying for the last few weeks, maybe even a month now, that I'm like, I kind of want a battle pass because it feels like I'm getting the achievement thing. But if I have a battle pass in 3 games, it's too much. I have to have a battle pass in 1 game, and I'm not a 1-game guy. Like, I
Yeah.
just don't have one single thing I play.
I mean, since, what is it, 3 years now, I've been doing my Halo weeklies every week. But they're weeklies. They're not dailies. They don't have dailies. There's dailies in the sense you can play one match
Dude,
and you get this
I don't
currency.
know how many times. I feel like you only do them Monday night. You know, like there's so
There's
many
been
times you're like,
sometimes-
I have to do my weeklies or I won't get them done because you've had these other 6 days and they're filled with shit. And it was like, well, to get a battle pass done, I have to do at least 5 of the 7 days, and
Yes.
I just don't want to.
And correlation of time, my weeklies for Halo takes me maybe 40 minutes. Because it's usually like 3, 4.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've got to stretch to 5 or 6 matches to get them all done.
Yeah.
So it's like, each match is usually around 10 to 12 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not that long, but
It's funny because I'm complaining, but not to try to fix anything or to blame a game or whatever. Because I've had the opposite where when I played Destiny and I was playing catch up, I was like, oh, I want to level or I want to do stuff fast enough. And I played every day and I wanted to put it. I didn't have 2.5 hours really, but
Right.
no one game has taken me that long. It's the culmination of all of them.
yeah.
But I would be like, man, I wish there was something to do today that wasn't just keep pushing towards the final goal, the final shape.
Yeah.
Killed it, by the way.
Nailed it.
So that's like something that is like, well, if I only had one game, it would be nice to have all this stuff all the time.
Totally.
But it's like overwhelming, and it only feeds like a FOMO. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm missing out. You completed the Fortnite Battle Pass, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm. And I would say
that kind of thing.
I mean, it's weird because we're like the first 30-year-old generation to play games, because the 30-year-old before us, they had games near the end, but they didn't grow up, and that's just gaming's a thing now. But all these battle passes, the things they're really made for is probably like a kid who probably only gets 1, maybe 2 games. You know what I mean?
Unless they're free to play.
Unless they're free to play.
Which is Overwatch for me. If they have Game Pass, which I'm sure they would.
Right.
And it's also Call of Duty.
I guess that's fair. Yeah.
And then also I said Magic Arena was one of mine. That's also the thing is like if games are free to play, they also want to nickel and dime you. That's why they have $20 skins. That's why they have V-Bucks.
I guess in my head I was thinking, I was like, well, when I was a kid, I got Kingdom Hearts, and I would play Kingdom Hearts 8 times because that was the game I got for the 6 months. And then 6 months from then, I got a different game.
When I finally had
That's not
internet,
really
the only game I would commit money to was a Call of Duty type game, because I'm like, I can get multiplayer forever.
Yes.
There's all the titles and all the emblems and all the skins and there's all that shit. But there isn't, like, I can just pick up any game now. I'm an adult.
Yeah.
You know, I can just buy any game really anytime. And then every game's got DLC. Every game's got an online service. Every game's got trophies that I'm trying to get. Every game's got a battle pass. So I don't know. I feel in a weird spot where I've kind of gone through, like, I want to do just story games, and I do that to a point where I'm like, well, I like playing with my friends. I don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm going to use this time socially, not to indulge in stories. I've been watching more stuff with Shay, whatever, reading. So then I go, okay, let me play mostly social games, and their games can switch. And I'm like, well, if I'm only going to play social games, but I play them at 6:30 in the morning when no one plays socially as well, then I need something to do. Let me get a battle pass. I feel like I've worked through all the different types of games, and I'm almost coming back around. That I've had the thought recently. I'm like, if this computer went away, how sad would I be? You know, like, how long would it take me to like adjust to just not gaming anymore?
Whoa.
It's not going to happen.
Right.
It's not happening. That's not a real.
Right.
That's not a true thought. But it's kind of like, if I can't find a game in today's like market of games, what am I doing? Do I want a game? Like, do I want to play something?
Well, when we were having that conversation, I had the same conversation but different, where I was like, I have a game, I want this feeling, but I don't know what game's going to give me this feeling. And we had a whole talk. Oddly enough, I didn't even have the answer. And then when we were talking, we came up with Sea of Thieves, and I brought it up, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll look into it. And then I started thinking really hard about it. I was like, fuck, it's Sea of Thieves. How did I not realize the game I wanted to play was I looked at all the achievements. A lot of the achievements are hard to know, because it's like, finish this commendation. And I'm like, okay, well, I got to click into this, figure out what it takes to get the commendation. There's a lot of that deep stuff, but I'm like,
Oh, sure.
all this is checklists, and it's a game I love running around in. I could just sail and just I was like, this was the game. Why did it take me so long to figure out it's the game that's been, it's right there. So I'm very excited to now get back into Sea of Thieves and start playing and doing more of the checklist. Let's do this commendation. Let's go for this. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Instead of going, hey, what do we want to do tonight? I don't know, grab a gold holders thing and we'll just go run around the ocean. It's like, no, I'm working on this commendation. That might be me sailing and fishing for 4 hours. Cool.
Dude, it sucks because I almost re-downloaded Destiny again, because I'm just like, I love this game too much.
Yeah.
It's just my fucking morals that are keeping me from doing it. I'm like, I don't want to support this shitbag company.
Yeah.
You know, which sucks because it's also to Sony, which I don't think Sony's a shitbag company any more than any other major corporation.
Right.
So I'm like, I wish I could be supporting these people. And I know it's like the 10 people at the top and the 700-800 people underneath. It's not the 800 people underneath that are doing anything wrong.
Right.
So I'm like conflicted, but I could do everything in that game forever. And it has a battle pass and it has seasons, and I've already paid for them actually. The ones that are running right now. And I keep seeing Act 2 is coming out for this story beat and whatever. And I'm like, whether it's lore, whether it's social, whether it's gunplay and shooting, whether it's a checklist, whether it's skins, I can do that here. Mm-hmm. But I just don't know what it is, but I just can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it. And I'm trying to find a game to replace Destiny, but it's right there. No one's replacing Destiny, because Destiny exists.
Yeah.
And it's still got a large market share despite being.
And I feel like the other games you've reached out to that people have compared Destiny to, you found issues you didn't like about them. I think it was Warframe. You jumped to for a quick second.
Yeah,
and
Warframe, great.
Yes.
It's just a different genre of gaming. Like it's Space Ninjas is what they call it. They actually call you ninjas.
Yeah.
It's just that it is designed to be free to play from the ground up. And I did a good job. I actually didn't spend any money, which I swear to God, I had this thought today as I downloaded Marvel Snap. Because I've been thinking of like, oh, Pokemon Pocket was filling a void that I didn't know I wanted filled, but it also was lackluster in a lot of things, and we didn't like that. Let me download Snap because it's not the same. It feels better. You can just buy stuff. You know, like you can just buy something. And there was a welcome back intro pack, and it was Captain America, and it gave you an icon and all this shit. And I was like, it's $3 or $4, sure. But I was like, man, I didn't give Warframe any fucking money. I played that game a lot.
And it just took
on a lot of consoles. I played it on my phone. I played it everywhere. And I was like, I should just hop on, give him $20 in peace for like my peace of mind.
For your time, yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick about giving money in Pocket, I completely forgot about this. The Lapras event ended.
Yep.
For Pokemon Pocket, if you don't know, Pokemon Pocket, they had an event where you played against essentially the AI, and you would, as prizes for winning, you could have a chance of getting a promo pack. Open it has one single card. The big one was a Lapras EX card that has a promo stamp on it. That was the poll. Reports have come out that people have talked about how they played as much as they could, like spent all the things, did all the things, and not once through that whole event got a Lapras EX. And they're like, usually there's a safety net where it's like,
Luck
if
protection.
you do enough, you will get it. Apparently, for this Lapras event, that did not exist, and there are people that literally like they had like 20 Mankeys, 15 Jigglypuff, like they had all the other ones, and there was like dozens of them, but just never got the Lapras. At the same time, I think Alec had like 7 Laprases. He was just able to pull through the event, and he didn't even play it that hard. And it's just like crazy the difference in level. And I'm like, there should be a luck protection kind of thing.
Even Destiny has bad luck protection.
Yeah, like it's like there should be some. Like, obviously, it's a luck-based thing. They want their money for their things, yada yada. And I
there's
complain
no
a lot
luck
about
protection in a real pack,
right?
But there is in that you can just buy the fucking card for $4.
Exactly.
You know,
so
that's a little different.
There should be some form of protection, but I forgot that was coming out. I was like, oh yeah, I've got my own problems with the luck of that game, believe me.
Yeah.
But I fucking got a pack, and I was like, oh, and I saw Shiny Edge, and I was like, oh, I finally got a good card. It's my 3rd fucking special Cubone, and I went, God damn it. Well, give me a different card. So I got my one little coupon
shop
ticket. I'm like, sick.
I'll gobble it.
Yeah. But anyway.
Marvel Snap is a little interesting in that they have like, when you hit a certain level, by that point, you will have collected everything in set 1. Now you go into a second set that's just more powerful cards. So it's kind of like you'll hit a point and then you will have everything in set 1. Then you'll hit another point, you'll have everything in set 2. And it's harder and harder, of course, as you go. Otherwise, it's random up until then. But otherwise, cosmetics and variants are the only things you purchase, but they're not functionally different. And you are guaranteed to get the cards by a certain level. Like it's just a guarantee. So
gotcha.
There's something nice about that.
Last thing, which...
2 Marvel Snap notifications. New Battle Pass chapter available.
Oh my God, they heard you.
Said, hey,
real quick, before we sign off,
snap.
this could be a whole conversation, but it's going to be old by the time we get to it next week, but maybe we'll come back. James says, one great thing with Snap, you can finish the Battle Pass playing very casual. That's cool.
Yeah, so the tea that I was talking about making in the morning, it takes like 10 minutes. I would get the pot ready, put the milk, and I'd put a little creamer in there for the sweetness.
A little sweet.
A little something sweet.
Oh.
So while I'm waiting for that to all heat up, I would be opening my Pokemon packs. I had 2 packs at that time. But now I was like, okay, I'll open my 1 pack or my 2 packs. I'll just do a quick open, shuffle through just to do it. Then I went to Marvel Snap and played a couple rounds of that while waiting for my tea to steep.
Gotcha.
So it's just replacing that. But anyway.
They have the Game of the Year award nominations came out.
And I only knew like 3 of them. And one of them is an expansion.
One of them is the Shadow of the Erd Tree from Elden Ring as a DLC. And a lot of people are asking, should DLC be considered Game of the Year? Or is it something separate?
Do you remember the last time something like this happened? Should blank be considered for Game of the Year?
God. Yes, I remember the conversation. I don't remember the game.
It wasn't a game. There was like, should this category of thing...
Was it the, go ahead.
Early access.
Yes.
And beta.
Yes.
It was like, this game's not even out officially.
Right.
Should this be considered for Game of the Year? Can a game that's not functionally considered to be like. So there is something to that. But anyway, go ahead.
The DLC thing. So when someone goes, should DLC be considered for Game of the Year? When I hear that, I go, no, it's DLC. It's added. But then when you go, well, Shadow of the Erd Tree is for Game of the Year, I go, well, that's like a whole fucking game. It is DLC for Elden Ring, but that's a whole fucking game. So it's like, I felt conflicted where I'm like, I don't know if we can just make a blanket statement on DLC should be considered or not.
I think you have to.
You mean you have to? Yes.
I don't think.
I don't know my
think
blanket
Elden
statement.
Ring, because it didn't win Game of the Year before, right?
It did.
It did.
Elden Ring.
I don't
has
think.
won it.
I don't think a single game should be able to win Game of the Year twice.
Oh, okay.
I don't think. That doesn't make sense to me. You can't win Best Picture twice.
Got it. I think
Just because you came out with the unrated cut the next year, people would lose their minds. Right?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think it got 2022. I think it was Game of the Year, Elden
Sounds
Ring, and then I think so. Now they're like, was it going to be 2022 and 2024 for the same game? And I'm like,
Yeah, no, that's where. But
Yeah.
they have. I think either you make a Best Digital Expansion. Because I don't know if you could even say DLC.
Make another-
because maybe
yeah.
a battle pass or a season is the thing that was so special for a game. But I think that maybe it's there's already a category for it. I couldn't tell you the name off the top of my head, but it's like best continued game, best supported game, best live service.
because like Fortnite's always up
Destiny's
there.
up there for
Destiny,
sure
yeah.
right now because they're like, because otherwise, why was Final Shape considered? Because Final Shape was fucking great.
Considered for like Game
For
of the
Game
Year.
of the
saying?
Year, you know, I don't think it should win.
That's an
I'm
interesting.
just saying,
yeah.
like, was it considered? Because then it should have been.
Yeah.
Right? Or is that just considered best continued live action? Because or not live action, live service. Because we're a decade into Destiny.
Right. I for me, where and you can't do this because it doesn't make sense, but it's just the sheer size of Erd Tree where I'm like, really, Elden Ring. The Erd Tree is almost like I bought a second game. I bought the sequel, but it just is played in the same world in a way.
Yeah.
Where it's like
It's called Best Ongoing Game.
ongoing. game.
Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Helldivers 2.
That's the
What do you
up to
think's
date.
gonna win? This is this year's. Yep.
What the other game of the years?
Game of the Years.
Yep.
Astrobot,
Yep.
Balatro,
Cool.
Black Myth Wukong,
Yep.
Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree,
Uh-huh.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth,
Okay.
and Metaphor Refantasio. Never heard of that in my life.
I know that. I actually I considered playing it, but it seems a little too much for me to jump into right now. But anyway, I flipped back and forth on this. That's why I wanted to bring it up because I was like, I don't really have an answer because I was like, again, front face value DLC I don't think should be considered. When you give me Shadow of the Erd Tree, I go, fuck, that's a whole game in itself. But it is DLC, and it's almost like, well, FromSoft, you don't get to win with this because you labeled it as DLC. If you had come out with a second game, and what was the deal? What was it? The cost of it was it like a $30, $40?
I don't know.
Whatever it was. If you
I would guess 40.
if you sold me a $40 game that's Shadow of the Erd Tree, you could have won Game of the Year with that.
Yeah, it's what Assassin's Creed did.
Yeah, and it's like,
Assassin's Creed with Mirage, they didn't win shit because it was terrible.
and it's not unheard
But
of.
it was
for-
supposed to be for Valhalla because it's a direct tie to the story, but it's a whole new map in Baghdad. But it's just a separate game. They just decided, it's different enough. Let's just make it a
and
new
it's
game.
not unheard of for DLC to get a little too big for its britches and become its own game. You know, you got Halo 3 ODST, you got Lost Legacy, Uncharted. Like games were planned to
you've
be
got,
DLC and went a different way.
God, what's the one? What was the first one you said? ODST.
ODST.
God, I just had another one in my head but I was taken over by what you
Yeah.
said. I don't remember.
I think-
it was Borderlands. Tiny Tina's
Oh,
Assault
yeah.
on Dragon Keep
Yeah.
was supposed to be 3 DLC.
Now, when I think of those games, the only difference is those are different maps, different things. I think with Erd Tree, you just are in the map of Elden Ring and you walk over here and you're in Erd Tree. Or you go through like a portal or what. I know Bloodborne, it was like you go to this door and you go into the portal or whatever. But I think that's where it's weird because then it's like, well, if I buy the second game, I don't have my character from the other game. So that might be the weird. It's very weird.
And as James told us about Erd Tree, that you need to be like, you're getting one shot even though he was like overpowered in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
You know? So the difficulty scale's different, but I don't know. I think you start, you just, if you need it, they wouldn't have done this because it doesn't make sense adding it on to for people who already like the game, not making a new platinum. Like things come with that new release, new ESRB ratings, new whatever.
There is, yeah.
I imagine that they could have just done where like you just spawn in as a level 500 character or whatever the numbers are. I don't know. I didn't play Elden Ring, but you could do that all just so you could win Game of the Year again. They don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah.
And they're nominated anyway.
Yeah.
So who cares?
So it's very interesting. I don't think it's a big deal.
I'm not angry at anyone.
Right.
No, Jeff Keighley's not to blame here, you know. But it is like, oh, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. It's also like when you get right down to it, these awards don't mean they're like doesn't give anything extra to the game. It's not like, I mean, as far as I'm aware, I don't think there's prize money or anything like that for this. This is just to celebrate games. So we don't need to be that crazy about it. We don't have to be too angry about it. We can just be like, hey, let's celebrate this game. And if people think it's DLC, that it's good enough to be celebrated as a game of the year, cool. I do agree with you, though. Elden Ring already won. It shouldn't be able to get a round 2. It's already got its...
Yeah, I would say, in like maybe if Elden Ring had its issues, like if they put up No Man's Sky next, which I know they're past that already. There's like No Man's Sky Worlds or something.
Well,
but if they put that up, I'd be like, we'd probably have the same conversation, but I'd feel more willing to give it to them because I'm like, well, not only did they fight back from a lot of terrible shit, but they definitely didn't win Game of the Year that first year.
That's what I'm saying. Elden Ring doesn't win. Cool. Come back and try again. Shadow of the Erd Tree now added into the conversation. You have a better chance of winning. But you already got the title. You don't need to come back and take it again. Yeah. Not that they're the ones that are like pushing for it. They didn't. It's not like the Oscars where you have to pay money to be even considered for the Oscars. Yeah,
it's for your consideration bids. Well, and it's also interesting too because where do you consider? It goes back to the other games of like, what's the extraction shooter that's super Tarkov, Escape from Tarkov.
Oh, okay.
That game maybe has never been nominated or something, but it's not. It was not 1.0 yet. It's in early access still. Yeah. Even though it's been 8 years, right? But if that goes 1.0 and it gets nominated, even though it's had 8 years of figuring out the market and playing, I would let it be nominated. Yeah. You know, it's like you got to pick a side, but I'd pick the side you can be nominated. Mm-hmm. So it's would them failing, and which they didn't do, but if they had failed, like a No Man's Sky, and then came back with No Man's Sky Worlds, would I let them go for this? Yeah, I would.
Cool. All right, that's all I had. I remembered that near the end, so I'm pretty hungry. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Are you?
For a little while there, I was like, oh my god, my stomach kind of.
I'm worried, dude. My thing here says it's 135.
Your laptop?
It just went up to 136.
Interesting.
Why is it 40 minutes?
Yeah,
incorrect.
It's a weird time too.
Yeah. It's like, 40 minutes isn't on the hour. It's not whatever. Like, where do you think I am?
Huh. Well, we're going to go figure that out. We're going to sign off here, let everyone get back to their day. We're going to get back to our day. I've got a lot of editing to do. So, look at that. It's like the perfect time to get on out of here. Oh, I think I have to do it over here.
You got to do it there. You got to click here. You got to do that. You got to say,
see ya. Cool. All right. Well, Stokes, did you have anything else?
I got nothing.
Then we're going to sign off as we always do and say sweet dreams, and we'll see you for breakfast.